talk about that, we will forget and move on from the nonsensical discussion of race and names onto more critical issues. Kamla Prasad Bisesa wants Attorney General Armour removed for lying under oath. This is the Attorney General of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The cabinet consists of the Prime Minister and the Attorney General. The Attorney General, this Attorney General is a senior counsel. All attorneys are governed and guided by the Bible, which is the code of ethics of the legal profession. But listen carefully to what Kamla Prasad Bisesa had to say on Monday, and then we will get into it. The Attorney Regional Armour, you can't be run it.
The media house had never asked, not just one, asked the questions. Today we will never have known about the constitutional crisis that the AG has placed our country in. AG steps aside in Piarco case. He did not step aside. It's only when they catch him out and the court ruled to disqualify him. Miami court disqualifies Armour. Shame and disgrace. A scandal of the highest order, as we see. Mr. Armour, whilst in private practice, represented Mr. Quaitum on the same Piarco matters in Trinidad and Tobago. The defendant, Quaitum, in 2 sets of proceedings from 2002. Mr. Armour advocated, meaning talked. He made oral submissions. That means he went to court and he talked. And he also made written submissions on the matter on behalf of his then client, Brian Quaitum. He was appointed as the AG on the 16th March this year. After his appointment, Mr. Quaitum brought a motion to the Florida court to disqualify Mr. Armour from the matter and to disqualify the law firm. I hold no brief for anyone. The only brief I'm holding is a brief for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And the jurisprudence and rule of law is so clear. You cannot have represented me as your client, and then you turn around a few years later and you come here to prosecute me. And this is the Attorney General didn't know that. The judge agreed with the motion to disqualify Mr. Armour on the grounds that he was conflicted. The judge disqualified Armour. Armour never moved himself from the case. Never moved himself from the case, and instead filed an affidavit in the court in Florida and lied on oath in the Florida court. Lied. It is a blatant lie when he told the court, the Florida court, on oath that he recused himself from the matter. So it's a blatant lie. They went, he and the lawyers in the US court, fighting tooth and nail to stay in the matter. They objected to the application brought by Quaitum. And here we are. He said he recused himself. Lie. So tonight I raise these matters in the public interest to expose the conflicted AG. This now leaves TNT in a constitutional crisis. You know why? The only office pursuant to our Constitution, Section 76 of the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And I always tell you, the Constitution is the supreme law of Trinidad and Tobago. Section 76 says all civil proceedings, and these are civil proceedings, all civil proceedings must be brought in the name of the Attorney General. So if you are disqualified, what is going to happen to this matter? Who is going to prosecute on behalf of the people of Trinidad and Tobago? His first day on the job, first major matter, and he has really brought shame and scandal to his office. And now we come to, did Mr. Armour lie on oath? The word is perjury. You all know that word? Perjury means you lie. Outright, another kind of lie. Lied. He said he's not conflicted when he filed his affidavit in the matter because he was junior counsel in the matter. You hear lie? More lies. But first of all, whether you're junior counsel or senior counsel or instructing attorney, You represent Kwaitung, and you have had instructions that were privileged and confidential. As a junior, senior counsel, he said his only job in that case was what? Taking notes. Telling a Miami court this. In Florida, telling a court, shameful, eh? First he said he was a junior. Then he said, well, I didn't do much, I was just taking notes. Note taker. And I just did a little bit of research. Listen, Mr. Amo, don't lie to the country, and don't lie to any other court outside of Trinidad and Tobago. That is perjury. You lied on oath. You were senior counsel during the preliminary inquiry when you represented Kwaitung. You were senior counsel then. You were appointed senior counsel before you went into this case with Kwaitung. Why are you lying? You were a junior lawyer. Well, you might very well be a junior lawyer, because if you're so dotish, you make all these mistakes. Have a Kwaitung, submitted by whom? Reginald Armour, SC. Therefore, the parties and lawyers would sit together and they will discuss the matter. They would share confidential attorney-client information with each other because they have a common defense. Mr. Armour, sworn affidavit in the Florida court, he said that he never had any common defense meeting with the other defendants and their lawyers. Never. Mr. Steve Fergusson affidavit dated 26 April 22. He swore and he confirmed that Armour attended these common defense meetings. Lies. So what are the issues that now arise? What are the issues? What was the extent of your involvement?
So you all have heard the lies of Reginald Armour, SC. But there's something that lawyers in Trinidad and Tobago operate under, and it's called the Code of Ethics. So let's go through this, and while I'm going through this, I hope that the Law Association and Sophia Choate is paying attention. I hope that they are. So let's go through the Code of Ethics, Archie. Put up the first page. No, that's the last one. That's the last. Go from the other end. Start from the other side of what Vishnu sent you. So go to the exact opposite end and start coming down in that order. Right? When you have it, it should be 1 and 2. We started at the beginning. That slide was the last one. So go from the opposite end in the folder. Right. So when Archie gets it, right. Well, that's 23 and 24. Go down to, no. Go down to 1. Find an image with 1 and 2. Right. And then your next one will go in order. We going in order. We like things in order. So Archie, go find it. Leave this one. Let's go this slow. That's a very good. Right. So this is the Legal Profession Act, 3rd Schedule, Part A, Code of Ethics, General Guidelines in relation to the profession and himself. 1. An attorney at law shall observe the rules of this code, maintain his integrity and the honor and dignity of the legal profession, and encourage other attorneys at law to act similarly, both in the practice of his profession and in his private life. Shall refrain from conduct which is detrimental to the profession or which may tend to discredit it. Well, as Law Association, you tell me, what did Reginald Armour do by signing that affidavit fraught with falsehoods? Number 2, an attorney at law shall expose without fear or favor before the proper tribunals unprofessional or dishonest conduct by any other attorney at law, and shall not lightly refuse a retainer against another attorney at law who's alleged to have wronged his client, and so on. But the first part, well, Reggie Armour, you have to report yourself. And any other attorney who is aware and who has read the affidavit of Reginald Armour must report, is duty bound to report Reginald Armour to the Law Association. Number 2, go to the next slide, my brother Archie, where we will see 11, 12, and 13 of this Legal Profession Act, Code of Ethics. 11, 12, and 13. Every attorney at law should bear in mind that the oath of office taken on his admission to practice is not a mere form, but is a solemn undertaking to be strictly observed on his part. 12. An attorney at law should also bear in mind that he can only maintain the high traditions of his profession by being a person of high integrity and dignity. And 13, an attorney at law owes a duty to the state to maintain its integrity, its constitution, and its laws, and to not aid, abet, counsel, or assist anyone to act in any way contrary to those laws. And Al-Rawi and all the attorneys, Camille, who was in the cabinet, Fitzgerald Hines, who worked alongside Keith Christopher Rowley when he thwarted the meritless and collapsed the Police Service Commission and misbehaved in public office. Your lawyers who guided him while he went through that process, y'all are in breach of that too and should be reported under the Code of Ethics to the Law Association. Sophia Choate, are you paying attention? Let's go to the next one, 23.1. An attorney at law shall, at the time of retainer, disclose to his client all the circumstances of his relations to the parties and his interest in or connection with the controversy, if any, which might influence the client in his selection of an attorney at law. And 23.2, an attorney at law shall scrupulously guard and never divulge his client's secrets and confidences. Reginald Armour, you were senior counsel for Brian Quaintong and Rene Pierre in 2004 at the preliminary inquiries and for years following. And now, knowing all their secrets and making arguments for them and being part of meetings, not as a junior counsel, because Reginald Armour, you became senior counsel, you got silk in 2003. And now you went against your previous clients. Sophia Choate, Law Association, what say you? Let's go down to 26.2. In all situations where a possible conflict of interest arises, an attorney at law shall, not may, shall resolve all conflicts by leaning against multiple representation. Let's go to the next one. Should be 44.1 of the Code of Ethics of the law profession, legal profession. Let's see if we get it, Archie. A slide with 44.1. That 40, oh well, 40, he put 41.1. All right, Vishnu. The conduct of an attorney at law towards his fellow attorney shall be characterized by courtesy, fairness, good faith, and he shall not permit ill feelings. Well, that's interesting. But I really wanted 44.1, but if you don't have 44.1, let's go to 51, 53. 51, 53, part B, 2 and 1. Right. 51. In undertaking, you see this document, a very serious document. And lawyers are not to take this as just a piece of paper. This is their solemn oath, and this is to take form of their existence. In undertaking to render assistance to a foreign colleague, an attorney at law shall remember that his responsibility is much greater both when giving advice and handling a case that it would be had he undertaken to assist a colleague in Trinidad and Tobago. So in other words, lawyers called to the bar in Trinidad and Tobago must treat, when they are handling cases in foreign jurisdictions, they must treat it with a higher order of integrity, trust, loyalty, truth, and honor. And yet it is in a foreign jurisdiction that Reginald Armour signed an affidavit that is patently false. 52. Nothing herein contained shall be construed as derogating from any existing rules of professional conduct and duties of an attorney at law, which are in keeping with the traditions of the legal profession, although not specifically mentioned therein. Well, I wanted 53, so let it go. Where in any particular matter explicit ethical guidance does not exist, an attorney at law shall determine his conduct by acting in a manner that promotes public confidence in the integrity and efficiency of the legal system and the legal profession. So Reginald Armour, you represented two of the defendants as a senior counsel for years. Then you became Attorney General, and it never dawned on you that you should immediately alert everyone possible to the conflict that exists immediately and find a solution therein to the situation so that Trinidad and Tobago will not be in a constitutional crisis right now, and you would not be in breach of the code of ethics. Part B, 2.1. Let's go to 2. Go to on the next slide, and we'll go to, you found 44.1, right. There is a duty on every attorney at law to report improper or unprofessional conduct by a colleague to the disciplinary committee. So every single attorney who read the affidavit signed by Reginald Armour, filled and replete with falsehoods, stating that he was a junior attorney when he was senior counsel, stating that he was not really in the case, only a note taker, but he was actively involved in producing written submissions and speaking and questioning at the preliminary inquiry. Any lawyer who understands or sees that or reads that, which is all a lawyer, is bound to report this improper or unprofessional conduct by a colleague to the disciplinary committee, save where the information related to the improper unprofessional conduct is received in a or they receive it in no professional confidence. The story break. I am reading this and I still cannot understand or fathom how a human being, far less for a senior counsel, could be so stupid, so callous, so irresponsible, so wicked, so malicious, so deceitful. All right. Wait, Archie, while this one is good, I really need it up from the part B of the code, 2.1, right? I put some stars by it. So I'll read this one now, but you look for that. Part B, section 2.1. So let me deal with 7 and 7b. Where an attorney at law commits any criminal offense, which in the opinion of the disciplinary committee is of a nature likely to bring the profession into disrepute, such commission of the offense shall constitute professional misconduct. Is perjury a criminal offense? I'm asking all of you attorneys there. I'm asking the Law Association. I'm asking Sophia Choate. Is perjury a criminal offense? 7b. Although he has not been prosecuted, the committee is satisfied of the facts constituting the criminal offense. You see, lawyers know what constitutes a criminal offense. So it does not matter whether you are actually under criminal charge or that you have been indicted nor convicted. Once the lawyers, the Law Association sees the elements of a crime committed, so if the Law Association sees that the affidavit was signed, the signature is true and real, and it is that of Reginald Armour, and the affidavit is proven to be false in one or many aspects, such as being a junior attorney as opposed to a senior counsel, not taking an active role but being very actively involved. If these are falsehoods that are seen, no criminal charge needs to be filed in the jurisdiction. but the law association must take action. Let us see if Archie and Vishnu found part B, 2-1. Well, you went to 15, all right, I'll go ahead, but when I have 4 stars by a thing, I need you all to find that. So let me go ahead, 15, because it have plenty thing. An attorney at law shall never disclose, unless lawfully ordered to do so by the court or required by statute, what has been communicated to him in his capacity as an attorney at law by his client's attorney at law, and his duty not to disclose extends to his partners, to junior attorneys at law assisting him, and to his employees, provided, however, that an attorney at law may reveal confidences or secrets necessary to establish or collect his fee or defend himself. So what is that saying? Kamla Prasad Bisesa alerted the country that Reginald Armour went and took active action in the case against his former clients, that he conducted meetings, he signed statements, he signed settlement deals in this case. And if that is true and proven, then he would have been in a position to reveal secrets of Kwaitong and Rene Pear from 2004 onwards into the case that is going on now. And he would be in breach of this section 15 also. Next one, Archie. If you're going forward, well, it's 27, 28, 29, and 30. But I really wanted to find part B. Where you reach 51. All right. Is it that down at the bottom, part B? But it's 2-1. That is 1 day, Vishnu. An attorney at law shall not practice as such unless he has been issued. Okay, I don't want that. Part B, all you listen to me carefully, Vishnu. The one that comes after that on the top of the next page. Part B, or down below there where you cut it off. 2-1. Right, so Archie, go to 27, 28, and 29 now, and Vishnu will find that other one. We'll finish off with that one. An attorney at law shall not knowingly use perjured testimony or false evidence or participate in the creation of or use of... Lord have mercy. I never see a man breach a whole code so. The man here breach piece of code, you know. The man breach the whole code. The man like he opened the whole safe like them bandit to dig in Republic Bank and break in. The man breached the whole code. Let me try 28 now. An attorney at law shall not counsel or assist his client or a witness in conduct that the attorney at law knows to be illegal or fraudulent. And that for the client, what about the attorney senior counsel for himself? And where he is satisfied that his client has, in the course of the particular representation, perpetrated a fraud upon a person or tribunal, he shall promptly call upon him to rectify same. Reginald Armour, you must look yourself in the mirror. Call upon yourself to rectify same and report yourself to the Law Association. 29. An attorney at law shall not knowingly make a false statement of... Oh, Lord! 29. Let me read 29 again. Everybody in Trinidad and Tobago, let's read 29 of the Code of Ethics of Attorneys at Law of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. An attorney at law shall not knowingly make a false statement of law or fact. Sophia Choate, Law Association, my goodness. All you get it just now, let me read 32. An attorney at law shall not knowingly represent falsely to a judge, a court, or other tribunal, or to an official of a court or other tribunal that a particular state of facts exists. Reginald Armour, I have never seen one man breach a code so wholly, totally. 35-1 now, 35-2, and then we will finish with the one that I had 4 stars on. Bring up, I saw the 35 one, you had start off with that. No, go, wait, that, I want the 35 first. Go back, Archie, the one that you had start off with when we started this segment. 35-1 and 35-2. I want this one after. Or you want me to deal with this one? Let me deal with this one. Let me ease you up. All right, this is part B. Okay, part B, 2-1. In my notes, I have 4 stars. Let me read it and see why I put 4 stars there when I read it. An attorney at law shall never knowingly mislead the court. PNM, all you want to dance? PNM. Everybody just do the PNM. Reginald Armour, Keith Christopher Rowley, PNM government, the Attorney General, who forms the cabinet along with the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister is talking about Kunta Kinte, talk about 2-1, Part B, Code of Ethics. An attorney at law shall never knowingly mislead the court. Not may, no discretion, shall never. And once you knowingly mislead, that's it. You're out. Sophia Choate, Law Association, over to you. 35-1 and 35-2. Let's see what I had there in this Code of Ethics. But the man breached 1 and 2, 11, 12, 13, 23, 23, 1, 23, 2, 26, 2, 44, 1, 51, 53, Part B, 2, 1, 7, 7B, 15, 27, 28, 29, 32, and now 35-1 and 35-2. Actually, you can't find it back. You had it up first one. Right, man. I know you're going to find that, Archie. Breach by an attorney at law of any of the rules contained in this part shall constitute professional misconduct, and an attorney at law who commits such a breach shall be liable to any of the penalties which the disciplinary committee and or the court is empowered to impose. Law Association, we await what you have to say about Reginald Armour, Attorney General of the PNM government. Sophia Choate, put back 35-2. You frightened me there, boy. Breach by an attorney at law of any of the provisions of Part A of this code, while not automatically amounting to punishable professional misconduct, is a derogation from the high standards and conduct expected from an attorney at law, and may, depending on the circumstances of the particular case, amount to such a misconduct or form a material ingredient thereof. Well, Sophia Choate, put she back up now, and the Law Association, what happened when a man breached the whole code? The whole code. The man ain't leave nothing. The man ain't leave nothing for nobody else to breach. Well, I really want to see what the Law Association is going to say, because Sophia Choate, you wait for about 3,000 other people to dead before you agree with Kamala that we need a commission of inquiry into Dialsing and Rowley's handling of COVID-19. And even then, you couldn't say Rowley, you say the health sector. Archie, what is that, man? The Law Association said something? No, they didn't? Well, Law Association, we waiting for you, Sophia Choate. And wasn't Reginald Armour a former president of the Law Association? All you have no shame. Larry Lala, put up Larry Lala. Look, my boy, let me read what Larry Lala say. Put up the image there, Archie. Larry Lala make a lot of sense. Put it up. You have it? Find it there fast, boy. You pop Larry face, you must have the image. I put him up there for all you to read it out, because he dealt with this matter in a tweet or on Facebook or something, a statement. But to Sophia Choate, while Archie finds that image put up by Larry Lala, Sophia Choate and the Law Association, I really do not understand how since Monday night, and you all would have had this because it came out in the Express on Sunday, and some of your attorneys would have been well aware of it before it came out in the national newspaper. What are you all doing? What is your opinion? The country is blowing in the wind. We have a man sitting as Attorney General who has breached the entire code that you dictate that lawyers must operate under. And they must not just read it and hold it, they must live it, believe it, act on it, and deal with every clause and every part. Well, if all you don't have it, I will move on. Put it up. If you have it, put it up, download it. Let me hear what Larry Lala said, because I thought it was a very strong statement. Larry Lala. One of the first things we are taught as lawyers, and Larry Lala is a learned attorney, is that we are officers of the court, and that it is wrong, improper, frowned upon, and even punishable to mislead a court. From the silence, apparently many in the Trinidad and Tobago legal profession did not go to school that day and missed the lesson. But if it was Anna and Ramlogan, they may have looked at it differently. The double standard is what has us in this mess we're in. I totally 100% agree. And I have heard Kamla Prasad Bisesa. I have not heard any other leader of any other party. I have not heard any other wannabes. Vasant. I have not heard Fuad, my brother. Fuad's so plentiful. I have not heard Boindradat Tiwari, who attacked Kamla when she said that the Coast Guard must be brought to book and justice must be upheld for Yaelvis Sarabia, the little baby whose head was blown off by Coast Guard officers. But where are they? They all want to lead, but they go and hide and have double standards when a PNM Attorney General has breached the entire code. I just went through it for all you. And all of you are silent. Shame on y'all. But I know why Vasan Bharat silent. Bharat and Sajavan on special advisory committee to avert food crisis. Well, that's good. Vasan, a good position for you. You should really go up there and campaign hard as president of the Agricultural Society. I think that's a power. That's about as high as you could reach. I wish you the best there. You go on for that post, right? Because I will be monitoring, because you went on the roadmap to recovery for the PNM and nothing is recovered. People are scrambling for job on a boat under your roadmap to recovery, Vasant. So on this, with the food crisis looming, I'm monitoring very carefully to see your hard work, your productivity, and your presentation of plans to ease the pain of the citizens in the pending food shortage. I'm watching your brilliance, because you want to be a prime minister, eh? Well, maybe from Agricultural Society you could leapfrog. All right, Vasant? Fuad, ex-MPs say Fuad can win election if it is fair. Former Barataria Sanwa MP Fuad can defeat incumbent UNC political leader Kamla Prasad Bisesa in the party's internal election on June 26, once those elections are free and fair. These were the views expressed on Monday by former St. Augustine MP Vasan Bharat and Ramona Ramdial and somebody called Shane. Who is Shane Mohammed? If the election is fair, so wait. Fuad Khan, for the last 2 years, 3 years, has only been doing Facebook posts criticizing the UNC, attacking Kamla. He hasn't been on the ground. He hasn't been working with councillors who are being thwarted by the PNM, not given hampers under COVID-19. He hasn't talked and touched the ground, touched a hand He hasn't worked with anyone. He hasn't gotten a device or a laptop for any constituency. He has not been down to Labray to help Victor Roberts. He isn't in Couva, in Carpachima. He's not in Freeport. He's not in Dago Martin with Lida. He there Rastafari, looking to line with Fitzgerald Hines. Yeah, looking good. But so Fuad Khan, when he gets a curtail because it's deserving, and he didn't campaign, he didn't create any manifesto, he hasn't put up any ideas, he does not have contact with the councillors of the UNC, the national executive, the constituency executives, the party groups in each and every constituency. He has not been in Tabakit in 4 years. He has not been down to Rodney Charles in Naparima or to assist Michelle Benjamin in Maruga Tableland or Dr. Rai Ragbir up in Kamuta Manzanilla. He not helping. What you all talking about? How do you win an election? Kamla Prasad Bisasa on the ground, that woman working 20 hours a day to support and help she UNC MPs with no resources, no decision making, nothing, and fighting for the party. And when people respect Kamla and vote for she and blow out whoever, you all trying to say it's not going to be fair? Okay, here what to do for me. Archie, about how much on YouTube it's about 1.2 thousand people watching this, right? And on Facebook about 800. So overall about 2,000 people watching this live, and then when Vishnu cut it up, each piece will go about 10,000 views, right? Right. If you, Ramona, Vasant, Fuad, and what is the fella name? Mohammed, what Mohammed? Dave Mohammed, the bowler. The bowler, the boy who could have spin real good and then take his shoot. Dave Mohammed. Shane Mohammed. Who is Shane Mohammed? Anyway, if you all have a lot, okay, do me a favor. Put on a little live, talk your issues and thing. And if all you get more than 350 people watching the live, I go then bring all you on Dogala Politics and interview all you as potential candidates. All right? Organize that for me. Other than that, understand this. Kamla Prasad Bisesa earned her right to be leader of the opposition and leader of the UNC. She beat the greatest politician in the history of Trinidad and Tobago before her, Bastille Pandey. She stands here working day in, day out with people, fighting, creating policy, putting on, making speeches, making policy, creating, preparing for government. And all you just want to come and lead because all you find, all your mother find, all you look like a leader. Well, all you go with Faris and them because Faris, mother say that Faris failed as AG because the UNC under Kamla too strong and they didn't support him. But let me tell all you this. Archie showed them across Trinidad and Tobago, all over, is support in the United National Congress for Kamla Prasad Bisesa. So come on and let's unite and move under one leader, one party, UNC and strong. Run it, Archie.
Kamla Prasad Bisesa is a performer. Whatever ministry she held, whatever position from local government to prime minister,
revolution. This is the revolution. I wanna hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom. Man and woman sing freedom. Everybody sing freedom. Everybody sing. As we move in this people's revolution, my brothers and sisters, let's all walk together as one. This revolution is about restoring our democracy. And this revolution is about stopping this creeping dictatorship. Welcome to the revolution. People crying out for justice.
Forged from the love of liberty in the fires of hope and prayer, with boundless faith in our destiny, we solemnly declare, side by side we stand, highlands of the blue Caribbean Sea. This our native land, we pledge our lives to thee. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation. Here every creed and race find an equal place, and may God bless our nation.
Almighty God, most beneficial and merciful, Creator of the universe and embodiment of divine wisdom and light, we come before you with thanksgiving and praise. May your will be done in our nation as it is in the heavens. Please bless our political leader, party officials, activists, and all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Give us the grace to always see good, be good, and do good, and the courage to serve the people. Protect us as we stand against injustice and iniquity, and inspire our endeavors to find the right solutions to the problems that are affecting our fellow citizens. Grant that we may always work together with humility and respect for the greater happiness of all and the
Good evening and welcome to the UNC Monday Virtual Report. And a pleasant good evening to our Honorable Political Leader, Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessor of Senior Council, who is on her way from our nation's parliament, where she has been holding the PNM to account. And of course, UNC family, welcome. UNC family say yeah, yeah. Now, this is the opposition's forum to call this government to account. We hold them over the fire. We have a long lineup of powerful and dynamic speakers. 5-star generals, of course, under the Field Marshal, the Honorable Political Leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar. This party, the UNC, is a great party. The only party that has been able to rescue this economy under adverse conditions. Who is the leader that gave all the children laptops? Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Under which party? The UNC. Which party gave 100 houses per week? The UNC. And which party embraces truly the watchwords of discipline, production, and tolerance? And those words of the anthem that we just sang, where every creed and race finds an equal place. Give it up a round of applause for yourselves, the faithful of the United National Congress. And of course, the first of those 5-star generals to grace the platform today comes from Tunapuna. Tunapuna in the house? Say yeah, yeah. To all those who are listening, we know him as a man who is passionate in fighting for the underprivileged, fighting for the downtrodden. We saw the fight he took regarding those young boys. Of course, joined the Senate in 2020. Senator David Naked is not only a national captain on the football field, he is a national captain in defending our citizens in Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be joining today. We have a long lineup of speakers. Co-host is, of course, Mr. Neil Gosain, the current Northeast Regional Coordinator. But at this point in time, let's open the batting with an opening batsman who was our national captain, a 5-star general. Tunapuna Posse, make some UNC noise for the one and only Senator David Naked.
This is the revolution. I want to hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom. Man and woman sing freedom. Everybody sing freedom. Everybody sing. As we move in this people's revolution, my brothers and sisters, let's all walk together as one. This revolution is about restoring our democracy.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. First of all, if there's the kind of noise I go on here today, I'm walking up the stage now. I want to hear some noise. I want to hear some noise in Apuna. I want to hear some noise in Apuna. We come here to make some noise. We want the PNM to hear us. Like they have been hearing us. We have them running scared. The political leader informed. Not so? Not so? The political leader not looking good? All right. Well, listen. I'd like to welcome everybody, especially my people in from Tunapuna constituency. All of you, thanks so much for making the trip. Clap yourselves. I would like to welcome all our senators, our MPs, all distinguished guests. And, of course, a lot of my supporters and a few of my enemies. As we stand here today, we have to recognize that when we talk about Keith Rowley and the PNM, and we talk about the bully that Keith Rowley is, that is not, we don't care that Keith Rowley is a bully in isolation. Keith Rowley can come and bully all day long in the PNM and kick up people in Balize house. We don't care about that. What we care about are the policies that a bully enacts. That is what we care about. We care somebody with the psychosis of a Keith Rowley, what he does. And this is what we are seeing reflected in the conditions now of Trinidad and Tobago. So when we see Keith Rowley, and we see the people that he has put around him, I mean, not to segue, but when we just look at what happened in Parliament today, and we look at the unnecessary arrogance of the acting Prime Minister, Kuminbut, in answering questions put to him, we have to realize that a bully's influence extends beyond his own personal space. And that is what has infiltrated the PNM. They are all bullies. They have become all bullies. So when Ayanna Webster Royce asked about children being placed in homes after that fire in Tagarigua, her answer was a curt, arrogant no to a question where we, the opposition, are asking questions not on our behalf. We are asking questions on behalf of who? You, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Not so? We want to know what were the state of the children, where were they placed? She come and give an answer, no. Following who? Somebody like Comimbert. That is his answer, no. And they feel that is something that affects the opposition. Not realizing that we represent the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We have to ask the questions on your behalf, even on behalf of the supporters of the PNM. And this is what has been missing in the narrative here. Why? Because there are no bullies without accomplices. There are no political bullies without accomplices. And that's where we look at the mainstream media, the Guardian and the Express, CNC 3, TV 6. They don't ask the hard questions. The UNC is the medium that brought this PNM government to book. We expose Amur. We expose the Children's Authority. We expose that this government has been delinquent with Petrotrin. We expose every single thing that we are seeing now. And that is down to the hard work of the people of the UNC. And we have to recognize that. And we have to applaud that. Because we will not give up in our endeavor to bring some equity to Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago is too deserving our country, too blessed with resources, for us to watch the answer given in Parliament today about those, they say 4,000, my understanding was closer to 7,000, 8,000 people, lining up for jobs on the Royal Caribbean cruise. And look at the answer given about that. The PNM is proud to announce that the Royal Caribbean cruise were given 2,000 jobs to Trinidad and Tobago. I have to tell Kuman, but it's only PNM could do that. Pauperize a country, and make it look like they're doing something to help the country. Where those 7,000, 8,000 people come from? Unemployed. Unemployed, fighting for 2,000 jobs. And that arrogant man called Comimbert could stand up and pretend that Trinidad and Tobago government all of a sudden have shares in Royal Caribbean Cruise. That's what they say. He talked like if Trinidad and Tobago, we have shares in Royal Caribbean Cruise, and they come and organize this whole thing. We now begging for our people, our bright, resourceful people, to be working on a cruise ship. And we're not disparaging people who work on a cruise ship, but we have to recognize where the PNM has brought this country to, where they have brought our bright and best to where? On their knees. On their knees. And we know, if we look at some of the PNM people, they like to see people on their knees. I wouldn't expound, but we know what we're talking about. It's just what it is. So when we recognize that this PNM government, not only responsible for the economic rot in the country, they're responsible for that pandemic, what we saw, that epidemic now of bullying we see in the schools. That didn't just come so. When you take away laptops from children, you cut gates where education was the way, scholarships was the way to take people out of poverty, to give them some direction. When you cut sports, forget about cutting sports. When you put a dunce in sport, like Shamfa Kajo, compared to who the UNC had as the best minister of sport ever, Arnold Roberts. What do you expect? What do you expect? For worse results, athletics, football, cricket, worse in everything, underuse, misuse of stadia. And who look to sports? The people in the poor and disadvantaged communities. They depend on sports. They depend on education. But you cut that. But what? You can make all neglect appeals and end up paying $852 million when you could have been more prudent in that regard. You pay $250 million to satisfy a board of directors and lose that. And still in the pandemic, begging for laptops everywhere from everybody. All these things matter. All those policies, ill-advised, ill-thought of, are the result of the mentality of a bully. And it's not Rowley alone, as I mentioned before. Bullies have accomplices. Bullies have people to support their policies. So we put in on notice the Guardian and the Express. We're not letting up. We're going hard at them. I see again this sign for 2 minutes, but I feel like going longer than 2 minutes. I'm in a rebellious mood. What do you say? Tinapuna, let me hear. We're not letting up, and here why. When you are a bully, you could take a 2 cents Attorney General. When we expose him, the UNC did that, and then go and demote him to a bush lawyer, and then bring a 1 cent lawyer to be Attorney General. So from 2 cents to 1 cent, in other words, this PNM government going from bad to worse, from bad to worse. The only thing left to do is what? Call election, seek a new mandate, let the people decide. Listen, brothers and sisters, Leonardo da Vinci, he's the one who said, it's easy to hate or love. But before you hate or love anyone, first you have to understand that person. I think the entire country now understands who Keith Rowley is. We understand that this is a man who cares nothing, not only for UNC, he cares nothing for even the people who support the PNM. Because everybody in Trinidad and Tobago is suffering. So what are we left to do as a people? We have but one choice. We have but one choice. That is unite behind the United National Congress, unite behind our leader, Kamla Persad-Bissessar, unite behind our people and bring this government down so that we can elevate Trinidad and Tobago to the place where we must be, where we have to be, where we deserve to be. Trinidad and Tobago, loving the house from the red man all the time. Loving the house all the time.
The people's revolution. This is the revolution. I want to hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom. Man and woman sing freedom. Everybody sing freedom. Everybody sing. As we move in this people's revolution, my brothers and sisters. Let's all walk.
Up here tonight, we're heating up. We are heating up here tonight. We heard about the bullies. Love in the house of the red man. Let's give him another round of applause. The only way for us to fight bullies is to stand up against them. And the person that leads that fight is our leader, Kamla Persad-Bissessar. We can't wait for our feature address tonight. But before that happens, we have some powerful speakers here tonight. MP Barry Padarat, Senator Anna Roberts, the Douglas himself, Senator Wade Mark, and Senator Jayanti Lashmidial. So our next speaker is Senator Jayanti Lashmidial. She joined the opposition Senate bench in 2020 and has quickly captivated the population with her legal prowess and her intellect. She's an attorney at law by profession, and she has a track record of exceptional victories. And I think Foster Cummins know about that for sure. She comes to fight for the people of Trinidad and Tobago in the Senate and has been vocal on PNM corruption. Quite recently, she almost made Foster Cummins cry. And he needs some therapy, psychological and medical. Apparently, he did not know that this one person is such a great legal mind. But now he knows. So let's welcome to the platform tonight, Senator Jayanti Lashmidial. Give her a round of applause. Thank you.
This revolution is about restoring our democracy. And this revolution is about stopping this creeping dictatorship. Welcome to the revolution. People crying out for justice. Some of them crying out for freedom. Want freedom. Everybody crying out for democracy.
Good night, my UNC family. Thank you very much for tuning in on this rainy evening here to our virtual report, where we bring the facts and the issues to you in an effort to keep you informed about the very serious and troubling developments taking place in our country now under the watch of the People's National Movement. I hope that the adverse weather conditions are not affecting too many of you all, but I want to give some kudos tonight because I've been seeing all day that our counselors are out on the ground, even as we speak, assisting our people in various areas. Thank you so much for your hard work and your dedication. I will encourage everyone, keep the numbers for the disaster management units at hand. We have all been circulating it throughout the day. And, you know, to those of us who are not so badly affected, if you could render assistance, of course, please do so, because there's so many people being affected by flood tonight. And take precautions, continue to take precautions, because we have a yellow alert in effect until, I think, at least noon tomorrow. Now, despite the weather, I'm happy to see so many of you all out here tonight, because it speaks to the vibrancy of our great party under the leadership of Kamala Persad-Bissessar. We are all committed to coming here, whether it is Monday, Thursday, Wednesday, whatever day it is, no matter what the weather is like, because we want to hold this government to account. We are here on Monday with our virtual report. Thursday, we're going out into the communities with TNT Speaks. And apart from our regular Sunday press conferences, we are doing midweek press conferences as well now, because, you know, with this government, there's always something to talk about. With the PNM administration, it's disaster meeting disaster, like a snowball effect. And if we do not act to stop them, let me tell you all something, we have to stop them in their tracks, otherwise they will destroy everything in their path. When we were faced with all the vaccine acquisition fiasco and locking out of citizens and all the laws that were being struck down in Parliament, and I had an expression, I used to say, incompetence meets arrogance. But now I have a new one. It is deception meets distraction, because that is what they are about. They are about bringing deception. They are governed by deception, but they will create any amount of distractions so that you do not hold them to account and that you do not get rid of them. Many of them have serious allegations hanging over their heads. They feel they could distract you with race baiting and all kind of other antics, and that they will hold on to power by doing so. But the time has come, my brothers and sisters, to tell them what? Tell them enough is enough. The time has come now. It has gone too far. They are taking this thing too far. They think it's a joke. So the time has come for us to rebuild and restore Trinidad and Tobago to a state of equality and prosperity and good governance under the leadership of Kamala Persad-Bissessar. There are many of those out there, the naysayers, they want to say what the opposition is working and what the UNC doing and all of that. I want to just give you a short synopsis tonight, and this is just in the last month, I think. But if it wasn't for the UNC, under the strategic leadership of Kamala Persad-Bissessar, you would not have known that this government lost a $1 billion arbitration against OAS for breach of contract. They hid that from you. We had to expose it. They wanted to talk about amendment contract, but I have nothing to do with the reason why they lost. You would not have known, had it not been for the UNC, that the Attorney General was disqualified from representing this country in a court in Miami because they did not believe his sworn evidence about his role in the Piarco Airport inquiry, which took place in Trinidad when he was an attorney in private practice. Had it not been for the diligence of Kamala Persad-Bissessar and her team, you would not have known that the AG's sworn evidence in Miami contains things that are patently untrue, and you are going to hear more about that tonight. Now, I know that they have some, in my profession, some of them junior counsel like to play senior counsel, but first time I see a senior counsel playing junior counsel. First time I see a senior counsel playing, he was junior counsel. You know, I mean, shameless. And of course, if it wasn't for the UNC, under the leadership of Kamala Persad-Bissessar, who always, it rings in my head like a memory when she tells you, stand strong and go brave. But had it not been for the UNC, you would not have known that Special Branch, Anti-Corruption Investigations Bureau, and others had an MP and his suite of family businesses under the radar since 2019, or maybe even before that. But when we do our jobs and we raise these issues in the public interest, because it is you that put us here to do this, when we bring to you the proof, when we pose questions to them to bring transparency and accountability to governance in this country, they want to run the courthouse for injunction. They want to gag me. What a joke. What a joke. This government had stand up in the parliament talking about whistleblower. Like, I just had to blow whistle on them. They want to go for injunction. Well, I could tell you something, whistleblowing hard all over this country, so you better watch all yourself. Or you go live in the courthouse now for injunction application. Minister Cummings, I want to tell you something. You cannot shut me up. Ladies and gentlemen, it might sound funny, but I will tell you that these are not matters to take lightly. These are matters that strike at the very heart of our democracy. There's something special about the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago. It is unlike other Caribbean constitutions. You don't just have a right to freedom of expression. There's a separate and distinct right that the framers of our Constitution put in there that says the right to express political views. And that is something that Keith Rowley and the PNM want to get rid of. Our former Chief Justice Sharma, he very famously talked about the freedom to express political views, and he said that that is promoting free political debate is important and a feature in any free and democratic society. But brothers and sisters, the PNM are hell-bent on destroying free and democratic society as envisioned by those who wrote our Constitution when we became a republic. Rowley, looking next door in Venezuela, who he went to Los Angeles to advocate for, and he liked what he see over there, so he's trying to bring that over here too and destroy our democracy. They subscribe to what is called the Code of the Cosa Nostra. You remember when Rowley talked about the PNM, he compared the PNM to something called La Cosa Nostra, which, if you don't know, is a well-established mafia organization. They are proud that their party operates like an organized crime syndicate. Let me remind you of what he said. Actually, run the video. We have it.
A code, a mafiosi code. We keep each other's secret. It's only when you break rank, you go there and expose us, and for that, we're going to kill you politically. It's the code of the Cosa Nostra. As long as we stay together, we will survive together. And we agree not to breach the code of secrecy.
Secrecy. That is what they are thriving on. They thrive on secrecy. Now make the connections, connect the dots between the behavior of Rowley and his cabinet and the issues affecting this country. When we exposed last year the scandalous behavior of senior officials who interfered with the independent operations of the Police Service Commission, they relied on the Code of the Cosa Nostra to hide the true intent behind those dastardly acts. Most people looking on at the times about meritless something, they say, well, that's Gary Griffith business, we don't want to know about that, that's his problem, not mine. But today you have a situation where an acting commissioner of police cannot and will not say what happened to a special branch report from 2019. The report didn't fall from the sky. In 2017, there were residents from Couva area complaining very bitterly, and still today complaining to me. My mailbox overflowing with complaints. But they complained directly to the media that lands that they had been occupying, a senator came to talk to them at that time in 2019, and then the lands were bulldozed. And Minister Randall Mitchell, like he didn't get the memo about the Cosa Nostra. I heard an interview with him on TV at that time saying that HDC must investigate because that is and he used it was a trespass against the HDC. Well, he's a lawyer, so he know about them thing, right? But like he didn't know about the Cosa Nostra code because they moved him out of that ministry not too long after that. Now, if the special branch went on to collect evidence that named someone who was the senator, the intelligence, let me be clear, intelligence from Rowley, and so on, what was the TTPS doing? Have they buried the report? They're not acting on the Judith Jones report either. Is all of that is part of what? The Code of the Cosa Nostra? Who are you protecting? So when you have interference at the level of the Police Service Commission and the appointment of a Commissioner of Police, you see the trickle-down effect, ladies and gentlemen, on what is happening today in our country. Now, if you were following the attempt by the minister to injunct me and stop me from speaking, you would also know that I had documents from a whistleblower about something called a production order. And I didn't make it public, but it made its way into the media. And I want to remind you about the FIU flagging $4.4 million deposits. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what it is, a production order is, let me tell you, it's where the police will go to court and get an order to tell you produce documents because they are investigating financial transactions. And the application wasn't made by special branch. It wasn't made by, so it's not intelligence that Rowley could try to trivialize. It was made by the ACIB, whose role and mandate is to investigate allegations of corruption against government officials. So all this distraction that they're trying to come with, I read in the newspaper, he's saying, well, he left the company when he came into office, and his lawyer, Mr. Scotland, coming to say, well, nothing is before the court for him, because the company is a separate and distinct legal personality. All of that pussyfooting around the issue. At the end of the day, ACIB doesn't investigate private companies and their financial transactions with their private bank. ACIB investigates corruption by public officials, and there's an ongoing investigation that we have now forced them to admit is ongoing, yet Rowley refuses to act in relation to Minister Foster Cummings. They think they could jump on a platform and say, Kamla Sushila Prasad Bisesa, kyak, and that is going to, distract you from these types of issues. But all of them have questions to answer, and none of them belong there. When Rowley talked about school children behaving like hyena and so on, he wasn't thinking about those two poor excuses that he's putting in front of the children of Trinidad and Tobago, behaving even worse than that. What do you expect from people of Trinidad and Tobago when Camille Robinson Regis and Laurel Lezama Leasing display that type of behavior to the public? What do you expect from our school children? That is the question you have to ask tonight. I want to ask him if he thinks that the person he puts in charge of youth development should be someone who the police has cause to investigate. And you know what is so interesting? When I revealed the contents of that special branch report, the then Commissioner of Police immediately said that he sent the report on to Keith Rowley. Minister Cummings is saying that he doesn't know anything about the report, and if it's authentic, he's trying to verify, so he's written to the Commissioner of Police. So it's either that Minister Cummings and his legal team are saying that a serious thing like this, Rowley never showed him the report. Rowley never asked him about the report. He didn't say, well, first of all, where's that one? I mean, it's either he, Minister Cummings, is attempting to mislead the court, or Rowley just did not care, and he really taken the secrecy Cosa Nostra business to heart. Because that is a different level of secrecy. They are really protecting each other at all costs. And I don't care, they really standard, they don't care about who getting flooded out right now. They come to distract you with some, local government bill that accomplishes nothing. It does not address the issue of inequality of funding for the different corporations. What they try to do, they distract you because Rowley climb up on a bill, I'm not Rowley, Al-Rawi, climb up on a building and start a pelt blade behind some bush, and he thinks, well, oh gosh, I work and I am Mr. Local Government and everything is honky-dory with local government. I want to tell you tonight, brothers and sisters, nothing is right in this country right now under this PNM administration. All those antics cannot hide the fact that they have been under-resourcing the corporations, and that is why we are facing these issues of flooding today. I want to close tonight very quickly by raising one final issue. When Minister Cummings went to court, I want to just talk about his affidavit, because I thought it was a good read, and there was something that stuck with me. It's a public document, it's public record. But he mentioned something here when he went to get his injunction. He said, the nature of my position requires the highest degree of trust and confidence to be maintained in the management of public funds received to carry out my role in providing service to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Brothers and sisters, when I read that, it reminded me of something. And someone has since come forward, because as I said before, people are crawling out of the woodwork now with information. Back in 2014, the UNC raised an issue about the slate being put forward by Keith Rowley, and it was reported on a blog called Jyoti Communications, and it said that, whether or not they was asking whether or not someone on Rowley's team was disqualified from a tertiary level institution for plagiarism. Well, tonight I want to ask the question, Keith Rowley, did you ever investigate that allegation? Have you ever found out who is the person? Is that person now not just on your slate, but are they also sitting in your cabinet? Because I think it is very important for us to know, because you see, when you are, saying that you're interested in the development of the youth, and you want to foster a better sense of a higher level of education amongst youth in Trinidad and Tobago, you want them to aspire to greater things. It is important to know if someone sitting in your cabinet as part of the core structure of the People's National Movement was prohibited and not allowed to complete a master's degree in government from a tertiary level institution because they were accused of plagiarism. That is academic dishonesty. And I raise these questions tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because I'm telling you that if you cannot trust people to even write a paper or an exam with honesty, how can you trust them with public funds? How can you trust them with the future of this country? So I have received the information. I am making inquiries to verify the authenticity of it, but I am putting it out there tonight, and I am giving Keith Rowley and everybody else in his cabinet and his parliamentary arm to answer the question whether they know if anyone was actually accused of this and prevented from completing their education at a tertiary level institution in Trinidad and Tobago at the postgraduate level, because I think it is important for us to raise that. Ladies and gentlemen, my time is up. Signaling to me, and let me just tell you tonight, on July the 26th, we have internal government elections. Please come out and throw your support behind, I call them the team of superstars. June 26th, the team of stars, superstars that we have. We want unity. We have one party, one leader. Kamla Persad-Bissessar has made the United National Congress stronger than ever. We support her. I throw my support 100% behind her, and I hope to see all of you out there voting on the 26th. Thank you very much. Good night.
I want to hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom. Man and woman sing freedom. Everybody sing freedom. Everybody sing. As we move in this people's revolution, my brothers and sisters, let's all walk together as one.
One party, one leader. One party, one party. UNCN, proud. Excellent presentation. And of course, Senator Jayanti Lashmidial, it's no secret that while the people of the country continue to suffer, the friends, family, and financiers of the PNM get fat off the treasury. Our next speaker, of course, we have speakers to come. We have the Douglas to come, we have Senator Wade Mack to come, and of course, the political leader. But our next speaker is a firebrand. If I say pepper mouth, you know what I'm talking about. He's a visa-faced politician. Anywhere you go, they make him out for sure as a man fighting for the people and pushing back against the propaganda of the PNM. And of course, this man is known as the man who brought down the once great MP Darrell Smith. I give it up. UNC give a warm Monday night virtual for the firebrand, the peppermouth, the Princess Tongue MP, Barry Padarat.
Freedom, one freedom. Everybody crying out for democracy.
Now it's time to take a stand, yeah.
Come on! Cause this is the revolution, the people's revolution. This is the revolution.
Political leader of the United National Congress and the best Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago has ever seen, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, parliamentary colleagues both in the upper and lower house, members of the local government fraternity, brothers and sisters of the UNC all. You know, in local parlance, it is often said that mouth open and story jump out. Well, today in the parliament, mouth open and story jump out. We have been dealing with the issue of the Judith Jones report as it relates to child abuse in Trinidad and Tobago. But MP Indar Singh raised a question in the parliament today. And MP Indar Singh asked the Minister of Gender and Child Affairs, between the period 2019 to the year 2021, how many instances of child abuse have been reported to the Children's Authority? Brothers and sisters, when I tell you mouth open and story jump out, a meek, weak and feeble Minister Ayanna Webster Roy said 376. 376 instances of child abuse in this country since 2019 reported the Children's Authority. But only a few weeks ago, we got to find out in the parliament that a Justice Judith Jones report said that there's massive and wanton abuse of children in this country. When Camille Robinson Regis would have you believe that in 1997, Basdev Pandey, Manohar Ramcharan, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and Ramesh Lawrence Maharaj sat on their hands and did nothing. Tonight I want to ask Camille Robinson Regis, were you not sitting in the cabinet of Prime Minister Keith Rowley when 376 reports of child abuse went undiscussed, went unnoticed, and children continue to suffer at the hands of their perpetrators while you continue to wine and jam with the taxpayers' dollars in this country? Brothers and sisters, this government has gone entirely silent on this child abuse issue. Just yesterday, we were told in the Express newspaper that one children's home in Tobago has been shut down because the Children's Authority refused to give them a license. I want to tell you this. The Justice Judy Jones report says in the black and white that for 7 years, this administration, with then Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi, who moved from a lawyer to today being a bush lawyer in Princeton, for 7 years, they did not proclaim the legislation. In 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, up to today, they have not proclaimed the legislation as it relates to the licensing of children's homes. Today, the Express is reporting that they have refused to give a license to children's home in Tobago. Tonight, I'm asking the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister is the minister with line responsibility for these children's homes. Why did they not proclaim the legislation for 7 years? Up to today, that legislation remains proclaimed. The only people with responsibility of proclaiming legislation, which means it may be on our statute books, it means it passed in the Parliament, but it could only be enacted in law if the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago proclaims the legislation and tells the President, we want to put this in force. For 7 years up to today, that legislation remains languishing and it has not been proclaimed. Brothers and sisters, I've spoken about several of the recommendations that are contained in the Justice Judy Jones report. For the past couple weeks and months, the media in a big song and dance, they have been reporting only about this SABGA report. But what about the Justice Judy Jones report? Naked told you tonight, it is in the interest of particular media houses to talk about the SABGA report and not talk about the Justice Judy Jones report. But we have told you, if they try to shut us up in the Parliament, we will talk about it outside of the Parliament, and that is what we are doing here today. When we told them to deal with the licensing regime, when we told them to deal with the alternative locations, yesterday we are being told of a home, a child support home being burnt down, and we asked in the Parliament today, what have you done with those children? How many children have you relocated? How many of the abusers have you taken out of the homes? The minister, in a weak and feeble attempt, got up and she said, well, I don't have that information in front of me. If you don't have that information, who the hell has that information? Who is protecting our nation's children? If that is your responsibility, when we told them about establishing a children's ombudsman, that is what we call low-hanging fruit, that tomorrow or tonight, if they want to establish the office of a children's ombudsman, they could do so, but they do not have the political will to protect our nation's children, because we are not surprised, you know. Can you expect a man like Faris Al-Rawi to protect your children when he doesn't even recognize his own? Brothers and sisters, a few years ago, when I first became a member of Parliament, together with Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, our leader, we told them to establish a sex offenders registry with a component in it for pedophiles. So when Mrs. Prasad Bisesa stands on a platform and says with conviction that the PNM really means the pedophile national movement, we know what we are talking about. You see, there are some questions that we must ask. And one of those questions is, why is the PNM mortally afraid of a public sex offenders registry? When in 2016 we called for this matter, they refused to make it public. Refused, in 2016. Do you know 6 weeks ago, after passing the legislation in 2018, a few weeks ago, they came back to the nation's parliament and they say, well, we want to make it public. When we told them to do that since in 2016, what were they so mortally afraid of? Who were they so mortally afraid of that would have ended up on the sex offenders registry from the pedophile national movement? Brothers and sisters, earlier today, I heard a member of parliament, and I told you earlier, mouth open and story jump out, right? So Mrs. Prasad Bisesa contributed to the debate in the parliament today, and I heard one member of parliament jump up and trying to denigrate and mock Mrs. Prasad Bisesa. That member of parliament got up and said, well, I only throw corn. I didn't call the foul. Well, you throw the corn, but tonight I will call the foul. Because you see, in the Justice Judy Jones report, it speaks of a short, stocky man with ras who became a PNM candidate for a seat in Port of Spain. And I want to ask that particular gentleman who made that comment today if he knows a PNM activist called Twiggy. Because you see, in the general election campaign of 2020, Twiggy was running up and down a seat in Port of Spain, talking about that same stocky, short-hair Rasta man. So when you want to throw corn, I will call foul. I will call foul. So when Mrs. Prasad Bisesa tells you about the pedophile national movement, we don't have to go far. And that is why sometimes in the parliament, when we tell you that what they don't want us to say there, we will say it here, we will continue to fight for you, and we will call them out for what and who they are. Brothers and sisters, there's a lot more to be said over the next couple of weeks and months as it relates to this Justice Judy Jones report. And we will not give up, nor will we be silent, as Jayanti told you. No amount of injunction, no amount of political banter, because we are not afraid of any of them. And we will continue fighting for truth, peace, bread and justice from this platform led by the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisesa, our superstar. So look forward, more to come, and we thank you.
Some of them crying out for freedom.
Want freedom. Everybody crying out for democracy.
Now it's time to take a stand, yeah.
Come on! Cause this is the revolution.
Peppermouth himself, yes. Let's hear it again for him. Barry Padarat. Boys and girls, sisters and brothers, ladies and gentlemen, under this government, we have reached our lowest point, lost all hope, and we're in utter despair. Our great businessman, our great leader, Dr. Rowley, can negotiate for himself several $100,000 of a discount for his own villa in Tobago, but he cannot make the right financially sound decisions for this country. His vision and his direction has surely taken us to the brink of failure. That is why we want Kamla Prasad Bisesa as the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. One party, one leader. One party, one leader. Our next speaker is a true fighter, a man who is never afraid to stand up for the people of this country and making waves on his popular talk show, Dogla Politics. The Dogla himself, he's a man, if you ever was in school and remember, and you get into a fight with a man with a big mouth, right? He's the type of person that'll make you cry to go home and beg to go home. He's a true firebrand, and he has an incredible ability to get under the PNM skin and send them into a frenzy. He is known as Spoke, and he has a passion for sports. He serves as a member of parliament and a minister of sport under the leadership of Mrs. Kamala Prasad-Bissessar between 2010 and 2015. St. Joseph in the house, make some noise. Today, he continues the fight in the Senate. Today, he continues the fight in the Senate. Please welcome Senator Anna Roberts. He has a special place.
Everybody crying out for democracy.
Now it's time to take a stand, yeah.
Come on! Cause this is the revolution, the people's revolution. This is the revolution. I wanna hear everybody sing.
For you, those of you who like football, you know about something called a Kobo sweat. When you're done winning the game and you have a man on the bench who can't play, to waste time and wait for the referee to blow, you just pour on the man with the clean uniform, just wash down, to come on the field for 2 minutes to waste time. Rowley find an attorney general and give him a Kobo sweat, and yet we have to sit down here in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and see this Kobo sweat attorney general go into the parliament. Imagine that man bathed with Protex soap, choose out a suit and tie, and wake up, bunk start and burn diesel, and reach in the parliament with his shameless brass face self today. When you reach Balize House, they just vaccinate you with brass. I don't know where them get this thing. Them will stand up in your face without shame and talk with arrogance, knowing that they are the most disgraceful, dishonest, disgusting human beings on God's green earth. How do they even face their own children when they reach home? But let me tell you something. Some of us are to blame for that. In this beloved country, that's what we've turned our parliament in. That's the people who some of us vote for, wring our neck and pound our jersey as if politics is some kind of game. Let me ask you all this, what type of human being? Let me forget politics and policy and who build road and school and laptop and things. Stop, that's too easy. Let me start at basics. What type of human being leaves children? Well, I have here to suffer for 7 months, but according to Barry Padarat, to suffer for 3 years under the hands of pedophiles, rapists, and abusers, to burn them with cigarettes and sexually abuse them and beat them. What kind of human being allows that? Rowley is that human being? What type of human being leaves citizens down in a pipe without lifting a finger to help them, not even trying to save their life? What human being, forget politics, you know, what kind of human being could go to bed, lay down on the silly posturpedic, rest their head on bundles lap, and leave people to dead and sleep peacefully? And all you vote for that devil? What sort of human being would watch children starving, cut school feeding, cut differently able, cut gate, cut education, cut sport, cut anything to do with people, and then willfully and vindictively cancel a contract illegally and lose $1 billion of money that could buy baby milk and ease up poor people and put food on the table? What kind of human being would do that? And all you tell me politics is some joke, and Anil, all you just go in parliament, and when you're in the tea room, no, in the tea room, all your lucky police here come in the tea room. I don't go in the tea room, because you understand, they go really have them PNM police ready to lock me up, because me ain't no game with them. So when you see you want to lead UNC, but you join in PNM Roadmap to Recovery, And when you see you want to lead UNC, because Kamala give you a seat, and you say Rowley is not a racist when he banned Indian and Hindu from having open fire cremation without science, when he discriminate against Indian in all the corporations with our chairman, when he discriminate against Indian in rivers, and you could write in a column, Bo Tiwari, that Rowley is not a racist, when he could tell Glenn Ramadas in the parliament, when I sitting down there and hear him, to go and put more coconut oil in your head, when he could attack Kamla Prasad Bisesa in the most vile way, and you want to lead the UNC, and you want to lead the Yellow, and you want to lead this party, well, we detest Rowley. So if you like Rowley, go and put on a red jersey and go and take a cowboy sweat. What type of human being uses his power position to get sexual favors and pum-pum from subordinates? What kind of human being is a boss and would take his employee wife home and make love to her, and all you vote for that? That is the lowest scum of the earth. I'm not even talking politics yet. I'm talking raw manhood. Man, don't do that. Mama Pool does do that. In the last part, I'm going to read out 47. All you want to know how we reach here? Because the media, the intellectual capital of this country, have sold out our country and are traitors to this country because they're playing games. There have been, where we stand today, that an attorney general, knowing full well that he's not a St. Anne's inmate and don't take blue tablet, could just write on a piece of paper and sign it. That is total lie. And then try to think that nobody else going to find out and read that piece of paper. You know how we reach there? The titular head of the bar is a frank comment, liar. We didn't reach there just so. The media, the population, the people allow Rowley conflict by conflict to reach there, bit by bit. I just jot down 47 of them. Let me go how much time I have. I'm going quick, I ain't explaining. Or you could go and check all the facts on Douglas politics and things. I do it all the time. Let me go with conflicts of interest allowed by Rowley and the media in the last 7 years. 210 recusals of ministers making profit while they are ministers. All conflicts. Police Service Commission misbehavior in public office. Rowley impacting the President Paula Mary Weeks, Prissy Prasad, and others to choose a commissioner of police. A prime minister is a businessman, a farmer, while shattering the economy and pushing up the price of meat. Sharisi Prasad, an independent senator sitting down and voting on an issue involving his sister. Other independent senators on PNM boards. All conflicts of interest. Foster, who have an issue with credit union and many issues. Foster, boy, all the police looking for you same time. Foster in charge of credit union, and Venture Credit Union is the one who have questions to answer. Getting procurement legislation, which means legalized thieving. Former AG's wife received briefs from the OPM and other agencies while he is the AG. Paria keeps control of a crime scene when 4 divers dead, and up to now, no commissioner inquiry, they say in August. Bridget Anisette George rule on an issue with her husband. Central Bank governor is the neighbor of Rowley, and all of a sudden the Central Bank is espousing fiscal policy rather than independently handling monetary policy. Rowley's neighbors in Tobago, 23 boards. DSS, Rowley appoints special police to investigate DSS. SRP Kate from England, 40 million and counting to investigate UNC, and not a charge could be laid. PM and small pins procure ferries. Imagine a prime minister and his main minister going to spend $1.5 billion of your money. No advertisement, no tender, no board. Ministers procure galleons passage. Sandals, Rowley play golf for the man and then tell all you, spend $7.5 billion to build a hotel for the man who is his friend. And he go on to Lyman. You all accepted all of that. Fake oil,
a man get accused of fake oil, his Rowley friend, Rowley stay in charge, put the investigator, put the lawyer in charge, go to arbitration, did not appeal, and his friend make money. Well, all you vote for that. AA Comina is the head of Heritage. That Rowley lawyer, NCB Global Finance, small pin brother company, zero work in 2015, $4 billion. And Rowley put his father to, Stuart Young father, in charge of the Economic Development Board when it collapsed. So all investment had to come to them. So father, son, and holy... Collapse of Economic Development Board, IFC, Ministry of Finance the Minister of Finance make laws for him to benefit in the only building that gone up in town. Went on a commission of inquiry to investigate the highway, but he was on Integrity Commission and said that even though it's not emails, we have to investigate the content. That's what you all have accepted, and that's how we reach here. Franklin Khan wife, building, getting rent out. Attorney General rent out and outfit he own building, 84 million, and now have a puya cutting bush in a gas station, and tell earlier, he proud to be that. Whistleblowers punish NGC and the port. Former Minister of National Security received $1 million gift apartment from a old man. Small pin lawyer for Malcolm Jones become a minister in the Attorney General and take his client out of court and bust it on all your $13 billion. You all accept that and all you vote for that and whine all your head and say great is the PNM. Doctors who receive money and scholarship in charge of COVID-19 and telling me Rowley is good. Miriam Abdul-Richards on 4 boards and telling you that she's not a PNM, she independent. Roadmap to Recovery Mute, female editor and reporter, Asha Javid with small pin writing about Kamla and the UNC. CNC3, Natalie Ligo, Senator Vera on board and independent senator. It goes on and on and on. It must end now. Bring back Kamla, unite and stop the nonsense. God bless. Good night.
Some of them crying out for freedom.
Want freedom. Everybody crying out for democracy.
Now it's time to take a stand. Yeah.
Come on! Cause this is the revolution. The people's revolution.
One leader, one party. One leader. Of course, give it up for Anna Roberts. The Douglas. Now, the next speaker was my brother when I was in the Senate. And then he exposed the Sandal scandal. He's an attorney at law. But you see, what the country want to know right now is why the AG get on so from Toko down to Sando. They want to know how the AG could do it so. And the next speaker is the one who exposed the government with no amor. No amor. No love for the people. Please welcome the Member of Parliament for Barataria, Sawa, the fighting, the indomitable, my brother, Saddam Hussein.
Now it's time to take a stand. Yeah.
Come on! Cause this is the revolution. The people's revolution. This is the revolution. I want to hear everybody sing.
Good evening, my UNC family. Good evening, my UNC family. One leader. Thank you very much. Special good evening to all who are gathered here, those who are joining us on the virtual platforms, and most importantly, the best Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar of Senior Counsel. Mrs. Persad-Bissessar has proven to be one of the most bold, the bravest, and one of the most fearless leaders of any political party in this country. She has ensured that all of us, right now sitting in the parliament, in local government, supporters of this party, have an equal place and space within the United National Congress. And it is through her leadership that she gives us the motivation to continuously fight the PNM inside and outside of the parliament on your behalf. And we will not tolerate the parliament being turned into a PNM party group. Do you agree with me? The UNC will stand in the way of the PNM from eroding our democracy in Trinidad and Tobago. And today, we were in Parliament. That's why I don't have on my UNC shirt. I came straight from the Parliament. And the shameless Attorney General, I don't think there's another word we can describe that Attorney General. He stood up in the Parliament today to contribute to a debate. Well, we say we don't want to hear you. You have no moral authority to have a seat in that Parliament. So the opposition walked out under the leadership of Kamla Persad Bissessa. And the first thing this man opened his mouth and says that he don't see the opposition leader in the Parliament. Well, let me tell you, Mr. Amo, tonight, come down from there, because today probably will be the last time you're seeing Kamla Persad Bissessa inside of the Parliament. Because we will continue to fight until you are removed as the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, because you have embarrassed us internationally, regionally, locally. You have brought shame, disgrace, odium, and disrepute to that sacred office of the Attorney General. You have brought shame and disgrace. So, Mr. Reggie Amo was just now the PNM might be armorless. I want to remind you that Kamla Persad Bissessa made the last Attorney General a bush lawyer. So I don't know what she gonna make you this time. Because that last Attorney General spent more time in his law school than inside the courthouse. And you, as a senior counsel, spending more time taking notes than making submissions inside the court. So Kamla Persad Bissessa will deal with you. But while we are inside of the Parliament, we will ensure that we continue to fight. And we will use the standing orders, because you will, when you all watch the Parliament channel, you'll always hear Dial Singh and Stewart and all of them jumping up, 48-1, 48-1, 48-1. Well, today we will use the standing orders to ensure that we hold this Rowley government to account. Because today in the Parliament, we have filed several questions relating to Mr. Amo and his involvement with this entire Miami matter. And the political leader will speak to you more on the details of those matters. But while we were there, today is something called PMQ. Prime Minister have to come and answer questions. And, well, you know Rowley, Lyman, in where's Los Angeles? So the acting Prime Minister was there, Mr. Colm Imbert. And Mr. Imbert, we asked him several questions. And this man said a lot of things, but he had answered a single question. A single question. We asked him about the legal fees that the Trinidad and Tobago government will have to pay to this new law firm. No answer. We asked him about how Faris Al-Rawi acting as an Attorney General. No answer. We asked him again about whether or not Mr. Amo will be facing police investigation in the US. Again, the man basically didn't say anything. And then when we asked him about the conflict of interest with respect to Mr. Amo in the cabinet, again, no answer. And these are the things that we will not tolerate. Because if Colm Imbert feel that he could get away today on PMQ, we have then filed a matter on the adjournment. We file a matter on the adjournment, you know, it's something called an urgent, definite matter of public importance. And this is one where we could hold the government to account, so that we file this matter 90 minutes before the sit-in, and by 6 o'clock, we're able to have a debate for 1 hour on pressing matters of urgent public importance. And will you agree with me that this constitutional crisis that we are placed in Trinidad and Tobago is definitely an urgent matter of public importance? So tonight I want to ask why the opposition was not allowed to raise this matter in the Parliament. And again, I tell you, we will not allow that Parliament to turn into a PNM party group. Because if you turn on this matter of urgent public importance, well, guess what? Tonight, I would like to announce that under the instructions of the political leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad Bissessa, I filed a motion of no confidence in the Attorney General, Mr. Reginald Amo, of Senior Counsel on behalf of the opposition. Because if you feel you can run from Prime Minister question and you feel you can run from urgent public importance, well, you have a motion of no confidence coming in you, Mr. Amo. You could run how much you want, but you can't hide. Your armor better be made of steel, because we have an iron woman coming for you. And I'd like to read this motion for you tonight. The motion reads as follows. Whereas Section 76(2) of the Constitution provides that the Attorney General has conduct of all civil litigation within and outside of Trinidad and Tobago. And the Attorney General is required to uphold the Constitution, the Legal Profession Act, including obeying the Code of Ethics and the rule of law to maintain public confidence, trust, and integrity in the office of the Attorney General. And the Miami court disqualified the Attorney General from acting on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago due to a conflict of interest, as the defendants in the Miami matter were his former clients in relation to the criminal proceedings in the Piaco matters that were held in Trinidad. And in the matter, the Attorney General has declared in an affidavit dated the 24th of April 2022, under the penalty of perjury in the U.S. court, making several false statements and patently misrepresented facts of his deep involvement in criminal proceedings on behalf of his former clients. And 5, the Attorney General gave false evidence in the affidavit that at the time he was acting for his former clients in the criminal proceedings in Trinidad and Tobago, he was a junior lawyer and restricted to minimal legal research and to take notes. The Attorney General's conflict of interest, false statements made to the U.S. court, and his conduct has embarrassed Trinidad and Tobago and brought his office into odium and disrepute. Be it resolved that this House expresses its loss of confidence in the Attorney General. So we will prosecute this particular motion of no confidence in the Attorney General on your behalf, because Trinidad and Tobago, you deserve better than Keith Christopher Rowley and Mr. Reginald Armour. You deserve better. If they cannot tell the truth to a court and they cannot tell the truth to the parliament, do you think that they will tell you the truth? They will continue to hide for their friends, their families, and their financiers. But the UNC, we ensure that we will stand in the way of the PNM. We will always stand up on the side of democracy. We will stand for the rule of law. And we will not rest until we remove Mr. Reginald Armour, Senior or Junior Counsel, as the Attorney General of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you, my brothers and sisters.
This revolution is about restoring our democracy. And this revolution is about stopping this creeping dictatorship. Welcome to the revolution. People crying out for justice.
Thank you, Saddam Hussein. Another round of applause. Sisters and brothers, we have really seen the true acumen of the Prime Minister, and especially in energy and his energy technocrats. Because he have closed down our refinery, if he didn't do that, right now we'd have been making a killing. We have really seen how he thinks about energy. Not to mention that we would have had a steady stream of income and foreign exchange coming into this country. He must go, and that's why we need Kamala Persad-Bissessar as our next Prime Minister. One party, strong. Our next speaker is a true fighter. He is a true UNC stalwart, and he has been standing against the PNM and their oppression in the Senate fearlessly. He served as a government minister in the Pandey administration, and he served as the Speaker of the House of Representatives between 2010 and 2015 during the tenure of Mrs. Kamala Persad-Bissessar. Today he continues to serve the country as the leader of opposition business in the Senate. We want to welcome a true stalwart. Please welcome Senator Wade Mark.
It's time to take a stand, yeah.
Come on! Cause this is the revolution, the people's revolution. This is the revolution. I want to hear everybody sing. Everybody sing freedom. Man and woman sing freedom. Everybody sing freedom.
Thank you, my colleague Neil Gozain. Our esteemed an illustrious warrior, soldier, and militant fighter, sister, daughter, mother, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, leader of our glorious United National Congress. And I declare tonight, our sister, current political leader, will emerge victorious on Sunday, June the 26th, as our next political leader. My fellow parliamentary colleagues, my sisters and brothers all, let me say that in the few moments I have with you this evening, I wanted to address a matter that our leader has described and deemed as the pandemic of the jobless. But before dealing with that matter, I want to tell you this evening that I have been a veteran and stalwart of this great party. And I want to tell Trinidad and Tobago and all of my comrades and brothers and sisters in this audience tonight that I, just like what we call Kamla Sushala Prasad Bisesa, I am Wade Stephen Mark. I want to tell you all this evening that I fully and unequivocally support our sister Kamla Prasad Bisesa as our next leader of this great party. And I also unequivocally support understand very, very early this matter of unemployment, which I am going to address briefly this evening. It was Arthur Lewis, a renowned Caribbean economist, who said, if ministers seek restraint in others, they must first restrain themselves. In one underdeveloped country after another, the workers are striking and rioting in protest against the personal extravagance of politicians in office. Men who waste public funds can hardly expect public cooperation. Brothers and sisters, with all the mounting inflationary pressures, explosive price increases, and unprecedented growth in poverty levels in our country, the question that we have to address and we have to ask is whether the time has not come for Trinidad and Tobago to establish and to consider establishing what I would like to deem and term, and is well known in the literature, as a reasonable incomes policy in this country, where we can address prices, profits, interest, and rent, where we can look at all of these in the context of a national development strategy, all in the interest of the working man and woman in our country today. My brothers and sisters, the minimum wage per hour is $17.50. Do you know that a kiss loaf of bread is equivalent to $17.50? So you have to work for 1 hour, which is your minimum wage, to buy a loaf of bread in this country. The working people are living in tragic conditions in our country. The oppressed citizens are bleeding to death from the deep economic and social wounds inflicted on them by this oppressor called Keith Rowley. Brothers and sisters, in the past 7 years, this oppressive and corrupt PNM brigade has done everything to pauperize the working people of our great nation, leaving many of them scampering to catch the crumbs falling off the master's table. There is a kind of virtual strangulation in the atmosphere brought about by an ever-rising and ever-growing unemployment and underemployment crisis. Tens of thousands of our young citizens have literally dropped out of the labor market. And today we are told that the unemployment rate stands at less than 5%, to be more precise, 4.7% in another country. This is equivalent to full employment. How can we have unemployment at less than 5%, which is full employment, and you have over 130,000 people unemployed, when you have close to 8,000 to 9,000 people assembling in Napa, outside Sapa, and brothers and sisters in Tobago? How can we justify this? My brothers and sisters, when we look at what is taking place in our nation today, we see workers unable to find employment. Psychologically, that is murder. It is equivalent to murder. When you cannot find an income to earn, to make sure your children are taken care of in our nation, brothers and sisters, what is that? What is that? And when you have so many thousands of our citizens, particularly our young ladies and our young brothers, who are lining up, brothers and sisters, sleeping in the pavement, overnighting on the pavement, just to get a job application, to get a job on a cruise liner. These people have butchered and slaughtered the ordinary people. They sent home close to 1,000 people at ArcelorMittal. They closed down Carney Green. They closed down the tourism development company. They closed down the education facilities company. They sent home scores of workers at Lever Brothers Limited. 6,000 workers and their families, they put on the dump heap of our history as garbage when they shut down Petrotrin. Brothers and sisters, this is a criminal administration. This is a criminal government, right? And imagine TSTT in the last 4 years, 800 workers, and just in the next couple of weeks, 468 workers to go. And as if that is not enough, they are saying when you reach 60 years after working and laboring in the vineyard, you will have to take 30% less than your 3,000, which you are entitled to. When you reach 60 years, brothers and sisters, after making 750 contribution, Rowley and his criminal gang is saying you must get 30% for 5 years and less over that period. So 65 is 30% deducted. 61, 30% deducted. 62, if you want to get it at the age of 60. That is why they are saying take your 3,000 at the age of 65. That is where we are today. Listen, the poor and the working class have no choice. If you want to survive, if you want to prosper, if you want to live in decency, dignity, and civility, you have no choice but to vote for the UNC and vote for Kamla Prasad Bisasa. My brothers and sisters, the future is ours, but we must grasp it. We must hold it. We must take it. We must stand up and we must fight. No retreat. No surrender. We must take Trinidad and Tobago away from this group of thieves, bandits, hooligans, and kleptocrats. Let us get together. Let us unite as one. Let us move together as one party under one leader towards greater prosperity, unity, social justice, freedom, peace, bread, and justice for every man, woman, and child in our great republic. Long live the people of TNT. Long live Kamla Prasad Bisasa. Long live Trinidad and Tobago. Long live the United National Congress. Forward ever, backward never. Thank you very much, brothers and sisters.
Thank you all very, very much. Good evening, UNC family. Hey, it's a great evening. Good evening, UNC family. Let me recognize our two chairs tonight, Neil Gosain and Tako Bika. The several MPs and senators who spoke before me, Senator Naked, Senator Jayanti Lashmidial, Senator Anna Roberts, Senator Wade Mark, and MP, Oh yes, Saddam Stipp is an MP. He's not a senator. I was just getting to the MPs. But thanks for the reminder. MP Barry Padarat and MP Saddam. Give them a round of applause. Thanks for their contributions, very serious and very important contributions tonight as we keep you with this virtual report updated on the events taking place in our country. And to all the other activists who are here, all of you officials and activists, thank you very much for coming. And I just saw Anita arrive. She's also coming from Parliament. I came down from Parliament. I think Barry came down from Parliament. So we had a very interesting session today. But before I get into the pure politics, give me a few moments to speak with you about self-respect. Because first we have to respect ourselves, and then we can respect others, and therefore we respect each other. So I share some words with you, and then we'll get into some of the raw politics. I want to speak to you about mental fortitude and encourage you all to live your life and not just to exist and to conform. Last week I told you that many people are fed up with the toxicity of selective fake outrage, cancel culture, virtue signaling, and those who deal with the woke culture. Self-deception and arrogance about factual realities and truths are being forced on us by the fake outrage mob. Factual truths are being replaced by feelings, opinions, and perceptions. A society built on law cannot change the truth to align with any particular person's opinions and perceptions in order to avoid hurting feelings. This fake outrage and cancel culture, this kind of doctrine that is being pushed onto the population, is a very dangerous trend for democracy, for freedom, to criticize authority, and to have overall healthy national discourse. We are being bullied and forced to cede our freedom to discuss controversial or difficult ideas and arguments. And again, this is because of the outrage culture, the fake outrage culture. Those who purvey fake outrage culture, they adopt fake moralistic positions on difficult, complex issues to do what? To shame and bully citizens so that they will conform to their opinions, their perceptions, and feelings of the outrage mob. This act of cowardice and supplication soothes the indignant outrage mob. But you know what happens? At the same time, it damages the mental state and the psyche of people who have been shamed and bullied into conforming to something that they do not agree with. When a person conforms to the outrage mob and engages in self-deception and cowardice, that person becomes resentful, and that heads to bitterness. Then this bitterness in turn leads to hate, and then leads to a person becoming vengeful because they are constantly walked over and they feel miserable. These people may suffer from depression, from anxiety, from sadness, suicidal thoughts, because why? They are unhappy. They are angry at themselves for making choices against what they really believe. And therefore I say to you, self-betrayal to please the outrage culture mob and to fit in will destroy you. Understand that your life has meaning. Your life has meaning, and it's up to you to make your individual choices and not be bullied to conforming. You are put on this earth to live, not just to exist. There's a local saying that some people are just living to dead. Some people are just living to dead. I ask you, don't be like that. Live, find your purpose, and follow your dreams. Standing up for yourself doesn't mean that you should go looking for fights. However, people who want to bully and shame you must understand that you respect yourself and you have the ability to fight. You know, for too long, many of the people of our country have lost that ability to fight. It comes from the colonial days, it came down into the indentureship days, and now it comes down to the PNM days, where the only thing that is right in this country for some is what the PNM says or does not say. But you have a right. You are an equal citizen where every creed and every race find an equal place in Trinidad and Tobago. Weak people exercise cowardice, or they create havoc. You must always be good and do good, but the outraged mob must know you are dangerous. And I say this not to tell you to go out there and create a riot, but you are dangerous in that you will stand up and you will fight for what you believe in, and you will fight to believe in yourself. So, yes, Gail, I will talk. I will talk. Because we have to we have to relearn how to live and stand up. Too long we back down and we are too quiet. We don't stand up for ourselves. We don't stand up for what we believe in. And so you must know you are that people must know. You will not lie down and let them walk all over you. We let the PNM know that. And we will let the PNM apologists, so many of them with their fake outrage, that whenever they give an opinion on the PNM, they always have to turn back and do what? Give an opinion on the UNC. When we were in government, blame the UNC, but they will never speak of the PNM. When the PNM is in government and so much is going wrong, they say, well, yes, the PNM bad. PNM incompetent, PNM corrupt. But you know what? The UNC is the same. It's that fake outrage, it's that balancing, it's that cancelling out, but we will not be cancelled out. We will stand up and we will fight. We will stand up and we will fight. Always try to speak the truth. Don't betray yourself to fit in, because you will become very miserable. The fake outrage mob are possessed by this anger, and you are wasting your life trying to appease them. Respect yourself. Exercise sound judgment. Maintain constant spiritual development, and reject entitlement by earning your keep. Sons and daughters of the UNC, remember, whenever you feel alone, whenever you feel at your lowest, when you feel no one loves you, whenever you feel that you can't go on, know that I love you very, very much. I know that God loves you. Don't bother with those who mock you, those who ridicule you. Whatever religion you may be, whatever race or whatever creed, what you must do is pray and seek God, and you will find your way. I always tell you, I've said it for time and time again, put God in front and walk behind. The Bible tells us, Psalm 27, the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? And if I say to you, be afraid of no one. It ends with that psalm. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thy heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. Put God in front, and let us walk behind. So stay strong. Remember these words, and do not despair. Sometimes, as humans, it happens. We do despair, but we put God in front. We walk behind, and we pray. But the good Lord helps those who help themselves. So don't sit down and just stay home all day and all night and pray. Yes, pray. Keep your spiritual development. In this job and in the politics and in the hard times we are in, it is very important to keep that spirituality. You know, once someone asked me, how do you could stay in this job? Because there are many days, it's discouraging, I must say. How you could stay? And you must have a strong sense of spirituality in order to continue to do what you do. So I urge you in that regard, let us stay strong together. Give up all those mockeries and, as I say, fake culture and all of that is happening. You pick up the papers, this weekend, for example, Kirk pointed it out to me. You pick up the papers, you have all these columnists who like stooges in the paper. They are stooges of a stooge. Because those in their paper, that's the stooge of the PNM. And that's the boss. And the boss then tells the journalists. The journalist then becomes the stooge. I saw one journalist who writes every week in the paper. And I want to ask him, always writing and pontificating and preaching, and has he ever come to Laventille? Has he ever come to Barrackpore? Has he ever come anywhere except in the West where he pontificates and he lives and he writes this thing every week in the paper? And he talks about going to the Panya. David Nackett talks about they go in the Panya and they clink glass. And they think that is helping you and the people of this land. Tell me what you have done for any person in Trinidad and Tobago, except writing in these papers. Writing and pure cancel culture, pure stooges of stooges. That's what they are. But let's leave them alone, because we have more important matters to deal with tonight. Very important matters to deal with. And I want to be clear that the AG of our country, the new AG, Reginald Amon, has committed a crime or not committed a crime. The crime of perjury. In so doing, has he brought his office into disrepute? There may be even grounds for imprisonment. Imprisonment, because you see, perjury is a crime. In the United States, it is known as a felony. It is a crime punishable by imprisonment and or fines. Look at what we did today in the parliament. You'll be proud of the UNC in the parliament today. MP Saddam mentioned the many questions we asked about this AG Amo and his conduct, and the nonsense replies that they gave to us. We grilled them for quite a while. And you know, on top of all, as this shameless eater food man, Reginald Amo, sit down in the parliament grinning. And then after I spoke, he get up to talk. Shameless. Well, shameless. Who tell him to do that? We refused to sit and listen to him, and the entire UNC bench walked out of Parliament. Walked out. And when he was finished, we went back to conduct the business of the people. And because, as I say, we must not be afraid. We must stand up and fight, because this Attorney General has committed serious offenses. We say that he must step down now, and if he doesn't do Rowley, must fire him now. But Rowley hiding somewhere up in California. To avoid, he's hiding, to avoid all the major issues taking place. The issues with the unions, Waymark. The issues with the rising crime. And this whole scandalous, I can't even find a repulsive behavior on the part of the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. You know, I want to say something, you know. There's a little joke I used to give. Some of you may have heard it, but I'll change it up a little bit, and the names will be changed to protect the innocent. In this case, they're not innocent. So there was an Attorney General of a state, of a country, and the Attorney General and the candidates for a particular party, they campaigned. And in the campaign, they'll go on the platform and say, we are going to fight crime. Those who do the crime will do the time. Our job is to stamp out corruption and stamp out crime, and on, campaign. And that particular party won the election. They got into government. And then the Attorney General goes to the Prime Minister and says, I am calling no names. I'm not like Barry with the fowl and the corn and so on. I know names. The AG goes to the Prime Minister and says, Prime Minister, I want to go to Switzerland, but I have to ask one favor of you. Okay, well, what it is? The AG says, Prime Minister, we promise we'll stamp out the corruption, we'll stamp out the crime, but I have to go, and you have to do a favor for me. Okay, he pleads and begs. The Prime Minister says what? Okay, what is it? What do you want? He said, I want a gun to take with me to Switzerland. Prime Minister thought about it, and he said, okay, fine, you go. Because we promised the people to stamp out the corruption, stamp out the crime. So he goes up to Switzerland, and he goes to one of the Swiss banks in Geneva. And he goes up to the bank, goes inside the bank, and he tells the lower level deck, the first floor, he says, listen, I am the Attorney General of X place. My Prime Minister and I promised to stamp out corruption and to stamp out crime. And therefore, I'm now asking you to tell me all the citizens of our country who have a bank account in your bank here in Geneva, in Switzerland. Over and over, he's pleading and making his case. And that low-level functionary says, listen, sir, we don't do that. These bank accounts in the Swiss banks, they are secret. We can't give out that information. So he says then, the AG, well, look, take me up to your supervisor. And he goes up to the supervisor and he makes the same story. My Prime Minister and I promised the people stamp out corruption, stamp out the crime, and therefore I am asking you to share with me all the persons from our country who have a bank account here in your Swiss bank. Again, the supervisor says, sorry, sir, we can't do that, we cannot do that, that's against our secrecy rules and so on. He said, look, take me upstairs, take me up to the top floor. Let me go to the boss of the bank, the president of this bank. And he goes up and he starts the same story. My Prime Minister and I promised to stamp out corruption, stamp out the crime and so on. I'm asking you to share with me the names of all the citizens of my country who have a bank account here, a secret bank account. He does that several times, and the president keeps saying, sorry, sir, that is not our policy. We cannot share this information with you. At that point, he jumps up. He pulls the gun out of whichever bag he had it in. Remember, he wanted a gun? He pulls the gun out, and he puts the gun by the head of the president. And he says, sir, I am the Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago. My Prime Minister and I wasn't Trinidad and Tobago, I'm sorry. I'm not naming any names. I withdraw that statement. I am the Attorney General of my country. Agreed? My country. And my Prime Minister and I promised that we will do this and that and that. So if you don't give me the names of the people from my country who have secret bank accounts here, I'm going to blow your brains out. Anil, you're frightened? Going to blow your brains out. And the president looks at him. He does it again. I am the Attorney General of my country. I promised, and my Prime Minister promised to stamp out corruption. Tell me, all the people of my country who have a secret bank account in your bank here in Geneva. Gun at the man's head. He looks at this man, the other man, the AG. He says, sorry, sir, we cannot give you that information. It is our policy for privacy of these bank accounts. That's why we are so famous in the world for private Swiss bank accounts. The Attorney General looks at him. He takes a gun, puts it down on the table, and he says to the president of the bank, thank you, sir. I am now ready to open a bank account in your bank. I share this with you. I share this with you. I share this with you because given the conduct of the present Attorney General of Trinidad and Tobago, there are serious questions to be answered. I am not saying that he's opening any bank account anywhere. I'm not saying he went with a gun anywhere. But I think his behavior is more reprehensible and more repulsive for the democracy and the justice system of Trinidad and Tobago. It would be a further slide if it is that he could escape unscathed after what he has done. The manner in which he has flagrantly lied and has attempted to justify his behavior shows the lowest levels a government will sink to defend themselves in the face of blatant law-breaking and criminality. I want to explain to Mr. Amo why he needs to leave now. He has described himself as just a note-taker, as others have told you, and I hope that he will take notes tonight about what we have to say. Because in the early 2000s, Mr. Amo was hired to represent Brian Kwaitong and his partner in criminal proceedings at the Magistrates Court. He made extensive submissions at his AG Amo, then Senior Counsel Amo, in writing and orally to the court. He even cross-examined witnesses in that magistrate's court. The government then brought proceedings against Kwaitong and others in Miami relating to the same matter arising out of Piarco Airport. When Mr. Amo became AG recently, he then became the main representative of the state in this matter in Miami, so we understand. In the previous proceedings from 2004, Mr. Reginald Amo, senior counsel, was the lawyer for Kwaitong and others. Okay? He becomes AG, and now he becomes a prosecutor of the same people that he was defense lawyer for. And then, in this same matter, he went up to Miami, as I say, and we see what is known as a blatant conflict of interest. Now that is bad enough, but we'll come to some more in a minute. Then in the Miami court recently, this year, the defendants in that case, Kwaitong and others, they filed a motion to disqualify Amo in the Miami matter because of that conflict of interest, because it's a basic principle of the rule of law. You cannot today be the lawyer for a defendant, and then tomorrow you become the prosecutor against that defendant. Because why? You would have privileged information. Having been the defense lawyer, you would have knowledge of certain things to be used in the defense, so you would have advanced knowledge of things you should not have. And the law is very clear in every jurisdiction in the world, every country in the world. It is a basic tenet of the rule of law. You cannot today be on this side, and tomorrow you jump ship. I know we have a few people like that. A few people like that. One day they're on this left side party, next day they jump. But as a lawyer, as part of your oath and your, the ethics of the profession, as part of the law, that should not and cannot happen. Now that's bad enough. So when the persons in the Miami case now, having been Amo with their defense lawyer, when they found out, and he didn't disclose it to them, which his lawyers had a right to disclose to all parties, all he did was to file a piece of paper in a Miami court to say that instead of Faris Al-Rawi, he was now the Attorney General, in whose name the Miami proceedings are to proceed and being brought in to proceed. So as I said, the guys filed a motion to disqualify Reginald Amo, and not just Reginald Amo, to disqualify the lawyers who had been in the case for a long, long time, Sequel Law. You'll hear about them more. Reginald Amo, AG of Trinidad and Tobago, he then went and made a declaration in an affidavit with the specific words in the affidavit that everything in this affidavit is true and correct under penalty of perjury. He put that in the affidavit. Everything here I'm saying is true and correct under penalty of perjury. What does under penalty of perjury mean? It means that if you lie, you'll be found guilty of a felony in the United States. That's what it means, under penalty of perjury. And then what did he do in that same declaration that he filed in the Miami court? He lied. He lied. So one issue, his defense, well, look, I've appealed the matter. You're not going to get away with that, Mr. Amo. The appeal could go left side, right side, any side. Your side or no side. That is not the main issue in this matter. It is an important issue. But the appeal could go either way on the substantive law, but it does not take away from the fact that you lied on oath in a Miami court. I want you to get that point very, very clear. So he's hiding behind this thing where the matter is appeal, and he take an oath of silence. I am taking no oath of silence, Mr. Amo, and I'll expose you and call you out tonight. He lied first. Lie one. He said he was a junior lawyer in the matter. A junior lawyer in the matter. I hear Gianti said, Senator said, first time a senior lawyer pretending to be a junior lawyer is usually the opposite. In that declaration that he made, as I said, under penalty of perjury, under penalties for perjury, he said he was just a junior lawyer. You hear lie? That is lie. The legal team represented Kwaitong and his partner in the Magistrates Court way back when, and was from 2004 for several years, almost 5 years, you know, in our Magistrates Court, on the same fact situation, as they call it, the same factual matrix of the Piaco matter. He was listed as senior counsel, together with Mr. Alan Alexander, who was a great lawyer who's passed away now, senior counsel. And there was a third lawyer, Reggie, jog your memory, or go and look at the proceedings. There was a third lawyer, his name was Ian Brooks. The junior lawyer on the team was Ian Brooks, not Reginald Amo. So he lied. At the time, he was Amo, his senior counsel. That's lie one. Lie two. On penalty of perjury in his statement in the Miami court, he said he was a note taker. He's telling Trinidad and Tobago through his statement in Miami court as a junior lawyer, all he did was minimal legal research and he was a note taker. But the records will show in all those proceedings in the magistrate's court from 2004 down for almost 4 or 5 years, he actively participated in the court matter. Actively participated. He made written legal submissions in the case. Not were you just a note taker. He made written legal submissions for his clients, Kwaitong and partner. And when he signed it, he put SC. He was so proud. He put SC. He didn't just put Reginald Amo. He put Reginald Amo SC. And who signed it? Only Reginald Amo SC signed the written legal submissions in the magistrate's court here those years ago. Several times he went into that courthouse and he verbally advocated on behalf of Kwaitong and partner. Verbally, what does that mean? Actually stand up in the court and talk. Actively done it and, as I said, cross-examined witnesses, and you say all you did was take notes, man? You hear lie? That is lie. In all my life, I have never seen anybody hire a senior counsel to take notes. But he would have you believe he was just a note taker. I come now to lie 3. In the present matter, so we have his lies relating to his participation in the magistrate's matters. We now have his lies in the present matter on that same statement he made on penalty of perjury. He said he walled himself off from the matter. He recused himself from the case. You hear lie? That is lie. Let us look at his participation since he was appointed AG, his participation in this matter. He said he was provided with a status report on the matter, which involved, as I say, his former client. He was given a status report. What recusal is that if you're given a status report? Let's move on. He said he was involved in logistics for the trial. What kind of recusal is that you're involved in logistics, whatever that means? He said he named persons to attend mediation. Isn't that participation in the case? He said he named persons to attend trial. Isn't that involvement in the case? He said he managed the payment of legal fees. But yes, he's saying he recused himself. Well, this is a whole recusal government. I remember somebody told you tonight 210 recusals in that cabinet with Farris and Stuart Young and others. And others. He also said he spoke to the legal team on 3 separate occasions as AG. 30th March this year, 10th April this year, 14th April this year, and you say you recuse yourself. What are you talking to these lawyers for? These are the lawyers representing the people of Trinidad and Tobago in the Miami court, not representing Kwaitong and the defendants. Isn't that participation, AG Amo? He said he did logistics to bring and house witnesses from TNT for the trial. Carry up witness and put them in place for the trial. He said he authorized the dropping of certain claims brought by the government in the Miami court. Isn't that participation? Where is the recusal? Mr. Amo is named as a witness on the witness list for the trial. The witness list was filed 1 day before he left Trinidad and Tobago, recently when he left. He swore and made a declaration affidavit filed in the matter to oppose the application when the defenses had brought a motion for disqualification of A.G. Amo and the lawyers Sequel Law. Based on the extensive involvement of Mr. Amo in the Miami matter, the judge in the Miami court had to remind him in the judgment of the duties of lawyers in relation to former clients. Shame. Did you tell Sequel Law about your conflict of interest? And if so, why wasn't it raised in the court? Why you waited only until the defendants had filed a motion to push you out, take you out? Why did the defendants have to bring this to the attention of the court through the motion to disqualify? And it doesn't end there, man. This man is a liar of the highest order. And I dare him to sue me. You are a liar. Sue me. I have plenty court rules. Plenty court rules. And the UNC lawyers are brilliant lawyers, as we all know. Give them a round of applause. I congratulate Anand Ramlogan for his brilliant role in the matter relating to the injunction by foster comments with Janti. So Amma now tells us when the Bacchanal, what you say, when the story, when it bust, the mark bust, not wait mark, when the mark bust, this is what the man comes to tell us now. He tells us in a press release dated June 4th, 2022. He said that he found out that the motion had been filed by the defendants and the lawyers, Sequel Law, called him on the phone to discuss the need for an affidavit in response to the motion to disqualify. However, in that same press release, he then adds something else. He tells us in the press release he left Trinidad and Tobago for a family vacation between period 12th April 22 to 1st May 22. 1st May 22. Pay attention to the date. Make a note. Note takers here, make a note. 1st May. But in that same press release for June 2022, he says, then when he was still abroad, when did he return? Please remind me. Any note takers here? 1st May. He said while he was still abroad, he got a phone call from acting AG Faris, who told him that the judge in Miami had made an order disqualifying him from the case. Do you know the date of the judgment? The 2nd of May. 2nd of May 2022. So if you come back home on the 1st of May, how Faris calling you while you're still abroad? You hear lie? Lie. So he continues to lie to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. How you could still be abroad when the judgment was on the 2nd of May and you get in call and you return on the 1st of May. Are you understanding my point? Well, you understand he's lying. At least if nothing else, you understand it's a lie. He's lying. So with all these lies, all the reasons why it is imperative that we understand the rule of law and the administration of justice. The administration of justice is grounded and founded upon the truth. When you go to a court, that is why perjury laws. When you go to a court for a judge to make a finding, a proper finding, they have to depend on the truth. But when you have an AG who feels it necessary to go on penalty of perjury and lie before a court, what a shame and a scandal in Trinidad and Tobago and in the office of the Attorney General. That's what he thought. Why? Is it that he wanted to continue to eat a food? Because when he was found out, he didn't have to lie. He could have gone and said, look, this was the case. This is what happened. That way he would have had to automatically disqualify himself. But he wait for the judge to disqualify after he lied. Then we have issues of payment of fees. Sequel Law. This case was brought sometime in 2004. Where are we now? 2022, is that over 20 years? Almost 20 years. Almost 20 years. Please welcome our MPs. I think they are now returning from Parliament. MP Dinesh Rambali. Some MPs. and activists and friends. Thank you. We do not have the information, but we will do a freedom of information application. We only have that for 2 years, 2018, from 2018 to 2021, they have paid Sequel a total of $13.58 million. But the case is from since when? 2004. So Saddam will file that application for us to find out the total, I'm told, is millions more dollars paid. Now that they have been disqualified from the case, all these millions have gone, been thrown away, and they have now hired new lawyers because the Sequel law was disqualified. But it's an interesting thing happened. One of the lawyers in Sequel law, I think his name is Davis, Sequel law, Mr. Davis, was in another firm, law firm. And he left that law firm to form the Sequel law. So the money they collected from before Sequel law on the name of another law firm, we will get the information and share it with you. So when today MP for Bharat asked the acting Prime Minister, what about these new lawyers now? How much money have you paid to them? Because to retain a lawyer, as you know, you can't just walk in and swing your hand. You have to pay something called a retainer fee. And I'm told the new lawyers, White and Case, one of the top lawyers in the US, and MP Saddam asked them, well, how much money? Well, of course, this Prime Minister acting knows nothing. He doesn't know. And sitting next to him on his right is the present AG, and sitting to him on his left, a seat or two away, is the past AG, but he don't know. The questions are filed an hour or two before the sitting. That is the nature of Prime Minister's questions. That is what was put on the standing orders when we were there. We created that new mechanism to get information from a government through Prime Minister's questions. If you all ever have a time, you could watch the British House of Commons to see what happens in PMQ time. It is very hilarious, but it's very instructive as well. And the Prime Ministers don't get up and say, well, I don't know. They get up and they answer, because that's why you're the Prime Minister. And if you're acting, you have the same powers as Prime Minister to ask the AG.
You used to answer every question.
I used to answer every question. You know why? That was my job. That was my job. Every Prime Minister's questions day. Because what I will do, we had a little team, and when the questions were filed in the Parliament, we had 1 hour to get the answers for those questions. But that's not happening with these people. And again, what we will do is file a freedom of application, freedom of information application, to get the information to share with you. So we must thank a fellow named Ramesh Maharaj. I never thought I would have to do that, but I will do it today. Because Ramesh, and we were part of that government, the Pandey government, 95 onwards. 2 pieces of law that we did. There were other brilliant pieces of law, but one was the Freedom of Information Act, which allows an ordinary citizen to apply for and get information on the running of the government, on their policies and their strategies. And the other one was the Judicial Review Act, which allows us to review, to go to court to review the actions of the executive of the government. So if we file the Freedom of Information application and they refuse to answer, the next step is to go for judicial review of their failure to answer. And we've been getting a lot of information because of that. So I want to move on, but still on this AG. We are now plunged into a constitutional crisis because of the actions of Amo. According to the Miami court, he cannot continue to represent Trinidad and Tobago. The Code of Ethics in the Legal Profession Act also prevents an AG from acting adverse to the interests of former clients, which we mentioned before. The Code of Ethics tells us very clearly, an attorney-at-law shall withdraw forthwith from employment or from a matter pending before a tribunal where his continued employment will involve him in the violation of the law or a disciplinary rule. He has clearly violated that rule of law. Where the client by any other conduct renders it unreasonably difficult for that lawyer to carry out his employment as such, or in accordance with judgment and advice of the attorney at law or the rules of law or professional ethics. So here we have the Attorney General in breach of the professional code of ethics, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, but also in the Florida court in the state of Florida. And then now we have this strange matter happening. This is why I say we are in a constitutional crisis, where the Attorney General has been disqualified from being in the matter in the Miami court. This is a serious matter, and I'll share it with you. During Prime Minister's question time today, MP for Padarat again asked the acting Prime Minister, what authority, what legal authority is the Minister of Rural Development and Local Government, that's the bush lawyer, the fellow just turned bush lawyer, cutting bush all over Trinidad and Tobago. What legal authority is Faris acting as a client representative for TNT after AG Amo was disqualified in the Miami case? What did acting Prime Minister Imbert say? He said that Faris can act as a client representative in the Miami matter on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago under sections 76, 78, and 79 of the Constitution. You hear lie? That is lie. There is no provision for a minister other than the Attorney General to prosecute civil matters or defend civil matters on behalf of the government of Trinidad and Tobago, no other minister except the Attorney General. The sections are very clear. The AG 76(2) shall be responsible for the administration of legal affairs in TNT, and listen to this, legal proceedings for and against the state shall be taken in the case of civil proceedings in the name of the Attorney General. What is the bush lawyer doing in this case? Minister of Rural and Local, whatever. What is he doing there? What legal authority is there? Imbert tells us 76, that's what 76 tells us, is the AG is responsible for all legal matters, civil proceedings for and against the state. Section 78 says, for the performance of functions of acting Prime Minister during absence of the substantive Prime Minister, then you can appoint someone else. Section 79 provides the Prime Minister can allocate portfolios to ministers for the business of government, including the functions of the AG as set out as I just read. When the Prime Minister allocates or assigns portfolios to any minister, it is published in the Trinidad and Tobago Gazette. When Al-Rawi was removed as AG, appointed as Rural Development Minister, his responsibilities were gazetted, 22 March 22. And Mr. Amo, his responsibilities were also gazetted. When you read the Gazette, Al-Rawi was not allocated any portfolio under the office of the AG. Amo was allocated the full portfolio of the office of the AG. So there is nothing in law that Amo has power authority to appoint Faris to act as client representative. There's nothing in the law. And you know, we point this out to them and they come and they lie again and they lie again. That's why I'm spending the time so you will understand what is happening at the highest offices of the land. The acting Prime Minister today was unable to tell us if any reallocation or reassignment of the AG's portfolio was made to give Al-Rawi power and legal authority to manage these proceedings. Mr. Amo, in his affidavit, April 24, said Rawi was appointed as client rep for TNT. For Al-Rawi to act legally in a Miami matter, he must be given the responsibilities of the AG according to our Constitution. So we have a constitutional conundrum. You take it away from Rawi, and what are you going to do? Give him back? That is how this government operates, by VAPs. They do not do due diligence. They don't check out what they're doing. In these same sections of the Constitution, the AG's portfolio was made to give Al-Rawi power and legal authority to manage legal proceedings in the Miami matter? No, never done. If you could answer that, show us the reassignment. And then when you do that reassignment, Prime Minister, you will still be acting illegally because the Constitution says all civil proceedings must be in the name of the Attorney General. It doesn't say it must be named another minister who gets that portfolio or that part of the portfolio. So if there's no reassignment, there's no reallocation, then Faris is acting on your behalf illegally, further complicating this matter, further complicating it. So tonight, I want to call on the U.S. law enforcement authorities. I want to call on them. When the acting prime minister was asked today by Saddam whether U.S. law enforcement authorities have launched an investigation into the AG, Amo, in relation to his perjury in this affidavit in the Miami court, he told us he doesn't know. But he doesn't know. I never know anything. Everything we asked him to, he doesn't know. He's not aware. He doesn't know and will not take the time to find out. So tonight, on your behalf, I call on the U.S. authorities to investigate whether Reggie Amor committed the felony of perjury when he lied in his declaration before the Miami court. Must be an investigation. And I also call on the Law Association. Why are you all so quiet? Where is the mighty Law Association? They get pip. Where are you? I call on you to add your voices. This is a very serious matter for the legal fraternity in Trinidad and Tobago, and as I said, for the rule of law and for the administration of justice. And so the constitutional crisis involving the AG reminds me of something from V.S. Naipaul. I'll quote for you. A government that can break its own laws can also easily break you. A government that can break its own laws can also easily break you. And that is what this Rowley government has been doing for the past 7 years. They keep breaking the law of our land, and in doing so, they're attempting to break the spirit of people of TNT. And this is where an earlier 47 breaches that you talked about tonight, showing an absolutely corrupt and incompetent government. It is no coincidence that Keith Rowley has now prolonged his taxpayer-funded time in Los Angeles. No coincidence. There are two things. He doesn't want to come back home to face this issue. He doesn't want to come back home with the unions in uproar. Doesn't want to come back home at this time with the crime skyrocketing, and of course the joblessness, the pandemic of joblessness in the land. And so what is he doing? Hiding up in California. But that is one explanation, but there might be another one. Isn't the company, they say, going to buy the refinery or lease the refinery? Some electricians from California? I don't know, I'm just asking for a friend. The electricians in California.
Looking for the office too?
Yeah, probably looking for this office which is in somebody's house. So I don't know if this stretch out of his vacation or whatever it is he's doing up there has anything to do with this California company and the sale or lease of our Guadalcanal refinery. That's a serious matter. And we will ask him that because he might think we don't know. But there are always ways. You have eyes and ears everywhere. There are ways to find out. And on top of that, how long? They said for weeks. He's undergoing routine tests for weeks. For weeks. That's what the press release said, huh? How come you have to stay for weeks for routine tests? At taxpayers' expense, isn't it the law, the practice, the convention, that if those tests are available in Trinidad and Tobago, where you, Prime Minister, said that we have the best healthcare system in the Commonwealth, remember that? How come you're not doing these routine tests in Trinidad and Tobago? What is it in California? As I say, might be the electrical company that he's speaking with. So they keep breaking the law, attempting to break the will of the people. He says this health check, as I say, we know he said it. You all remember when he said, we have the best healthcare in the Commonwealth. 52 or 53 nations, we have the best. You hear a lie? Another lie. Another one. I want you to remember that the person at fault with this fiasco here, with Amor, is none other than Keith Christopher Rowley. Did he ask him? Did he check? Do he do due diligence? No. And that is an indictment on his failed leadership. This latest spectacular debacle is part of a pattern of incompetence stretching back from when they came into office in 2015. I remind you again, a government that can break its own laws can so easily break you. That's what they've been doing for 7 years. So as I close tonight, I want to again call on the PNM pedophile national movement, which up to today, as Barry told us, they have failed to protect our children. Crying crocodile tears about the Sabga report and so on, when you have done nothing to protect our children. When we look at what is happening in our beloved country today, it can be difficult to hope for better. But I believe that you deserve better, and you will get better. We must defend the rule of law against this wicked government. The PNM will never break the people of Trinidad and Tobago, no matter how hard they try. We are stronger than them. I know that we have the strength and resilience to forge ahead and tackle the problems facing us. And as you know, as Anil will tell you, we have the track record. We've been there, we've done that. We created the jobs. We looked after our children education sector. We took off the VAT of the food. We gave the laptops. There's so many things. If we start to talk about achievements, we'll be here all night, all day, and for a week. So we have a track record. And I ask you to remember that and do not get disheartened, because we will continue to have the vision, to follow a mission, to make life better for all the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We will see brighter days and have a better quality of life. I commend Saddam for filing a motion of no confidence in Reggie Amo. And I'm told that Senator Mark will do the same thing in the Senate. And I tell Mr. Reginald Amo, every time you stand up in that parliament to speak, we will not sit to listen to you. We refuse to sit in that parliament, because we have absolutely no confidence in this AG of Trinidad and Tobago. May God bless you. Keep strong and go safe. Thank you very much.